Good evening, everyone. It is now 7:31, the Yardley Borough Council meeting of Tuesday, May 5th, 2026. Happy Cinco de Mayo. I'm very excited for this meeting. There is a lot of activity. There's a lot of people here. So if we could keep it, the noise to a minimum, that'd be great. There's been a couple changes in the order of the agenda, which I'll go through in a minute. But first, I'd like everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. If you are military, you can continue to wear your hats. And I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Can I have a roll call, please, Manager Johnson?
Mr. Appelbaum?
I am here.
Ms. Scherer?
Present.
Mr. Menzel? Here. Ms. Howlett?
Here.
Mr. Goldstein? Here. Mr. Woodring?
Present.
And did you mention Siegel Morris?
Ms. Siegel-Morris?
She sends her regrets. She will not be here. Thank you. Okay, let's begin. Let me find my notes real quick. Sorry, because we had some changes. We can go ahead and do community announcements. Are there any community announcements from the table? Michelle, I think you have a community announcement. Excuse me. Can't take that call now.
I do. The 5K walk run will be on May 31st at 7:30 a.m. Starting at the old Wells Fargo building, and the Memorial Main Street Mile will be on May 25th at 7:30, starting at, did I say that wrong? I think I inversed them. Did I say that right? No, did I say the first one wrong? Did I get that?
Starting was wrong on the first one.
Okay, a little dyslexia. That creeps up every now and then. No, I don't really have it, but anyway, let me do that, so people know what I'm talking about. The 5K walk is 5:31, 8:30, starting at Starbucks. The Main Street Mile is 5:25 at 7:30 a.m., starting at the old Wells Fargo building. And the Pride event will be on June the 2nd at 6 p.m. at Buttonwood Park.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, Mayor.
While we're touching on Memorial Day, just so everyone can make their plans now, we have a full day of events starting at 7 in the morning with our rifle salutes. That will start at Slate Hill Cemetery, 7:45, as Michelle said, the Main Street Mile, which benefits the Legion Post. Then at 9 o'clock, we have our ceremony at the War Memorial. And finally, 11 o'clock will be our parade from McKinley all the way down to the Legion. Please join us.
Anyone else? Are there any public announcements, event announcements from the public? All right, not seeing any. I'll mention our first change in the agenda. As a courtesy to all that have come to see our chief get sworn in, and the others to reaffirm their positions, and the officer as well, is that correct?
Yes, sir, and a few awards as well.
I suspect that you don't want to sit through the rest of this meeting, so I pushed it all the way up to the beginning so we can have our fun and this proud moment to celebrate and share with each other. So I will just tell you what those, it's A, B, C, D, and that is, okay. First, we are going to A, vote to fully install and hire William J. Golden III as Yardley Borough Chief of Police. B, we'll vote to promote PFC William Bailey to Administrative Corporal. C, the Police Department award presentation will take place. And finally, D, we will swear in, if it passes, William J. Golden III and Officer Furley, if I'm pronouncing that right.
Yes, sir.
and the ceremonial swearing in or reaffirmation of oath under his new title for PFC Bailey. So, Mayor, are you taking charge of that? Or you are, sir?
I'll start with my police report first.
Yes, sir.
Statistics.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. President, honorable members of council, Madam Mayor. For the month of April, the agency stats for the Yardley Borough Police Department was a 931 calls for service. Out of those 931, 278 were at proactive premise checks. We issued 2 parking tickets. We conducted 342 traffic stops, issuing 200 citations for the month of April. 2 other citations were issued for non-traffic. We investigated 6 traffic accidents, and we had 2 responses from our code enforcement officer for the month of April. So that concludes my statistical report for the agency, Mr. President. At this time, I would like to go ahead with the award portion, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Okay. So at this time, if I could, I would like to call up Officer Daniel Baxter and Officer Alexander Byers. How you doing, gentlemen? All right, Yardley. So these 2 fine gentlemen here, Officer Baxter, Officer Byers, they are being awarded the Excellent Police Service Award. The award states as follows for both. The Excellent Police Service Award is awarded for those who demonstrate through a specific act or acts a high level of professionalism, alertness, initiative, and dedication that enables the officer to accomplish the mission and provide a safe and secure environment within Yardley Borough. During the time of January 26th through May 26th, Officer Alex Byers repeatedly through May of 2026, Officer Alex Byers and Officer Daniel Baxter had made themselves available to ensure that the department was able to maintain proper police coverage, respond to calls for service, and continue providing a safe and secure environment for the residents, business owners, and visitors of Yardley Borough. Both officers' willingness to step forward during a time of significant staffing challenges directly supported the mission of the Yardley Borough Police Department and helped reduce the operational impact caused by limited personnel. So to both of you, thank you very much. This is very nice too, since for many that may or may not know, next week is National Police Week, so this is great to do prior to that coming up. The next award is awarded to 1 officer per year, and that is called the Chief Shield Distinction. This award is presented to an officer whose performance consistently rises beyond the normal expectations of the position and reflects an uncommon standard of excellence, commitment, and personal sacrifice. This honor recognizes those whose actions extend beyond obligation and into purposeful service that defines leadership by example. This award acknowledges an officer whose contributions have created lasting and recognizable impact within the department and the community. It honors those who willingly accept extraordinary responsibility, champion meaningful initiatives, and advance the mission, integrity, and future of the department through unwavering dedication and service above self. This is going to be awarded to Corporal Adam Clark. Corporal Clark, in recognition of outstanding service to the residents and visitors of Yardley Borough, evidenced by your willingness to accept new responsibilities and your astounding performance between March 1st, 2025 and May of 2026, you have taken on new roles during a time of many changes. Most of them at a moment's notice. Your adherence to your core values of integrity, loyalty, respect, and courage to the Yardley Borough Police Department are continuously evident and have been illustrated by the manner in which you deliver service, strengthen the relationships, and continue your success. Okay, Mr. President, in regards to PFC Bailey,
Yes, sir.
on March 17, 2026, a formal request was submitted to the Yardley Borough Council for the creation of a non-civil service position within the Yardley Borough Police Department titled Administrative Corporal. This request was made to address a critical and evolving need within the department related to technology oversight, operational continuity, and administrative supportive functions. Patrol Officer First Class William Bailey has served the Yardley Borough Police Department for approximately 25 years in a part-time capacity and has consistently demonstrated exceptional dedication and service. Over the course of his tenure, PFC Bailey has assumed primarily responsibility for the management, maintenance, and security of the department's technological infrastructure. Modern policing operations are heavily dependent on secure and reliable technology systems, including CAD, RMS, CGIS, secure networks, body-worn cameras, digital evidence platforms, and facility security systems. PFC Bailey has been instrumental in overseeing and maintaining these systems, often providing support beyond scheduled hours to ensure uninterrupted operations. His responsibilities have expanded well beyond the traditional patrol duties and now encompass department-wide technology oversight and cybersecurity support, server maintenance, system upgrades and network management, digital evidence and body camera systems, vendor coordination and technical implementation, IT support for both the police department and the borough admin offices, training and onboarding of officers in departmental systems, remote troubleshooting and emergency response to system issues. In addition to his technical expertise, PFC Bailey provides leadership, mentorship, and continuity through his extensive institutional knowledge. The creation of the Administrative Corporal position formalizes these critical responsibilities while maintaining the integrity of the civil service promotional structure, as this role is administrative and technical in nature rather than a patrol supervisory position. Importantly, this position results in no increase in staffing levels or budgetary impacts and reflects duties already being performed. I respectfully request that Borough Council consider a motion to approve the promotion of Patrol Officer First Class William Bailey to the non-civil service position of Administrative Corporal within the Yardley Borough Police Department effective today, May 5th, 2026.
Okay, well, first of all, I can't find PFC Bailey anywhere. Oh, come on up, a little closer so we can see, get a look at you. And I would entertain a motion
So moved.
and a second.
Second.
Okay, a motion by Councilwoman Scherer and a second by Mr. Goldstein. Thank you. Okay. All those in favor? Oh, wait a minute. Any discussion? Any discussion from the public? Okay. Could you come up to the mic?
It's the podium.
It's just a technical question. I thought that any police department with 3 or more full-time officers had to go through the Civil Service Commission for a promotion. And I know you're saying this is a non-civil service appointment, but I thought that if you're doing any kind of promotion, that regardless of salary or that it would have to go through civil service. So I'm just a little confused.
I will defer to the experts in the room. The other experts in the
We
room?
did check with our civil service solicitor, and he approved this to move forward, because it is non-monetary.
Thank you. All right, without further ado then, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nay? Abstention? 1 absence, so it's 6-0. Thank you. Congratulations, sir. I just wanted to tell you how much I appreciate you, Corporal Bailey. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Mayor.
Ready?
All right.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your full name.
I, William Bailey,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
obey, and defend
obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
uphold the laws and ordinances of the Borough of Yardley,
uphold the laws and ordinances of the Borough of Yardley,
and that I will discharge the duties
and I will discharge the duties
of the Office of Non-Civil Service,
of the Office of Non-Civil Service,
position of Admin Corporal
position of Admin Corporal
of the Borough of Yardley,
of the Borough of Yardley,
with fidelity
with fidelity
and to the best of my judgment and ability.
to the best of my judgment and ability.
Congratulations.
No, what is that? That's why we're here.
It's your moment, Corporal.
Yes.
Counsel, my wife, counsel, my son Mike.
Welcome. Congratulations.
Okay, Mr. President, the next one would be the swearing in only for Officer Furley, as this was voted on last council meeting.
Correct. Thank you.
Officer Furley?
Welcome back. You ready? I state your full name.
I, John Burrow,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
uphold the laws and ordinances
uphold the laws and ordinances
of the Borough of Yardley,
of the Borough of Yardley,
and that I will discharge
and that I will discharge
the duties
the duties
of a civil service police officer
of a civil service police officer
of the Borough of Yardley
of the Borough of Yardley
with fidelity
with fidelity
and to the best of my judgment and ability.
and to the best of my judgment and ability.
Congratulations. The badge part?
I hope so.
You should get my personal picture.
Definitely got that. One, two. All right, one, two.
All right. And in the absence of Councilperson Siegel Morris, I would like to introduce the final police-related agenda item, which is the full installation, swearing in, and hiring of Sergeant William J. Golden III as Chief of Police, the 10th Chief of Yardley Borough Police Department. On July 15th, 2025, Sergeant William J. Golden III entered into a memorandum of understanding with Yardley Borough and began serving as interim Chief of Police following the departure of Chief Joseph Kelly III. Sergeant Golden has served the Yardley Borough Police Department since August 2005. Prior to his service to Yardley, Golden served honorably in the United States Army active duty as a U.S. Cavalry Scout with deployments to Iraq in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation Enduring Freedom. During his tenure with the Borough, Golden has held numerous specialized and leadership roles, including field training officer, firearms instructor, rifle instructor, weighmaster, child safety seat technician, highway motorcycle officer, juvenile officer, and patrol administrative sergeant. He was promoted to the rank of sergeant in January of 2013. Golden has completed extensive leadership training, including the FBI LEDA, or LEDA, I'm showing my ignorance here, Supervisory Command and Executive Schools, as well as Incident Command, Operational Planning, Active Shooter Command, and Counterterrorism Response Training. He is currently, he already completed Northwestern University School of Police Staff and Command last year. Throughout his career, Golden has received numerous commendations, including the Yardley Borough Police Department Life Saving Award, unit citations, numerous, Excellent Police Service Awards, numerous, and Meritorious Duty Award. Pursuant to the finalized employment agreement between Yardley Borough and William J. Golden III, Borough Council formally appoints Golden as Chief of Police effective May 5th, 2026, for a defined term through April 30th, 2030, and with retroactive pay as of May 1st, 2026. As Chief of Police, Golden will serve as the executive leader of the Yardley Borough Police Department and report directly to the mayor. His responsibilities include oversight of all departmental operations, personnel supervision, policy development, budget management, and interagency coordination and representation of the department before Borough Council and the community. Golden has served under former Chief Joseph Kelly for the past decade and has demonstrated a strong commitment to maintaining the high standards of community-oriented policing that Yardley Borough residents expect. His leadership during his tenure as interim chief has provided continuity, operational stability, and strategic direction for the department. The execution of the employment agreement formalizes Golden's transition from interim chief to permanent chief of police and establishes the terms, conditions, and expectations of his service, including compensation, benefits, and performance responsibilities. So I respectfully request the Borough Council to make a motion to approve the full installation, hiring, and swearing in of Sergeant William J. Golden III as the 10th Chief of Police of the Yardley Borough Police Department.
Thank you, Mayor.
So moved?
So moved. Second?
Seconded.
Thank you. Motion made by Councilwoman Scherer, seconded by Councilwoman Howard. Discussion from the table. Discussion from the public. Going once, twice, three times. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nay? Abstention? Congratulations!
Before swearing you in, I wasn't expecting to read that whole motion, so.
You did well.
A lot of my voice, apologies, but I just wrote a few words about Chief Golden. So Chief Golden has said to me many times that he feels that being interim chief was council giving him a test drive as chief and not just as sergeant. And as a guy who cycles through new trucks faster than Yardley Borough cycles through I think he knows the value of a good test drive. And so here's what I've learned since becoming mayor in January via Chief Golden's test drive as our chief. One of my favorite ways to see Chief Golden's leadership in action is walking through town with him. Whether we're going to get a cup of coffee before a meeting at Wawa or walking to do a PSA, members of the public gravitate to him. They thank him, they share an idea with him, and now ask how he is, just to say hi. In his 21 years of service here, he has become a staple in this community. Another thing I love about Chief Golden's leadership in action is the pep talks he gives before and after events. He is quick to recognize hard work and acknowledge department wins, and he is slow to blame or point fingers when things go wrong. He takes responsibility for his department and is an incredible coach to his staff to advocate for their growth and development within the organization. And finally, Chief Golden is a strong communicator. I feel informed consistently and know that Chief Golden is keeping organized records related to the operations of this agency, which allow us to quickly pinpoint strengths and weaknesses and act on them. And I, as a resident of Yardley Borough, I sleep well at night knowing that Chief Golden is our Chief of Police. Congratulations.
I just wanted to say a quick few words. Chief, Will, we had this little banner going back. You call me David in private. You know, I haven't known you as long as you've worked here, but over my last few years on council, now as council president, I've come to really admire you, respect you, and you've really made me proud with how well that you have managed this very difficult period of time of not knowing exactly where we will all go, what direction we're going in. And I just want to thank you for sticking with us and for being the true leader that you are. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Of support from many chiefs from the area, lots of law enforcement command staff here. I know it truly means everything, Chief Golden, that you were here. And I wanted to just check if anybody was really hoping to come forward and say a few words before we start, Chief Golden.
There's a few, I think there's a chief or two back there.
Anyone? All right.
Just on behalf of District Attorney Joe Kahn, just congratulations. Really look forward to working with you.
So before the swearing in happens, I was thinking about writing a whole new speech for this day, but I was going through my emails, and I had located the email that I had wrote to Council President David Appelbaum and Mayor Caroline Thompson after they twisted my arm and knuckles to sign the contract. So I would like to share that with everybody in the audience today. So this was written on April 9th. Mayor Caroline Thompson and Council President David Appelbaum, I want to thank you both personally for taking the time to meet with me today and for the opportunity to continue serving as the Chief of Police for Yardley Borough. This past year as interim chief has been one of the most challenging and rewarding experiences of not just my career, but my life. Stepping into this role came with a steep learning curve that has also given me the opportunity to grow as a leader, strengthen our agency, and deepen my commitment to the community that we serve. I am truly grateful that you gave me the chance to prove myself in this position. I also want to personally thank you, Mayor Thompson, for your continued support and the strong working relationship we have built together throughout this past year. Your leadership, accessibility, and commitment to our community have made a meaningful impact, and it has truly been a pleasure working alongside you. I would also like to extend my sincere appreciation to Borough Council for their trust in me and confidence in me for affording me the opportunity to serve as the 10th Chief of Police of Yardley Borough. It is an honor that I do not take lightly. Throughout this process, I have also had the privilege of building strong working relationships with Borough Manager Johnson, Patty Sargent, and Emergency Management Coordinator Wes Forey. Their support, professionalism, and teamwork have been invaluable, and I believe those relationships will continue to play a key role in moving the borough forward in a positive direction. I would also be remiss if I did not recognize the men and women of this department, along with our auxiliary police staff. Their professionalism, dedication, and commitment to our mission, and their support of me throughout this past year have meant more to me than I can properly express. I truly could not have done this without them, and I am proud to lead such an astounding team. I would also like to thank the residents of Yardley Borough for their continued support of our agency. It is a privilege to serve this community, and I remain committed to working every day to earn and maintain that trust. I sincerely appreciate the trust and confidence you have all placed in me. Please know that I remain fully committed to leading this department with integrity, accountability, and a team-first mindset, while continuing to serve our residents to the very best of our ability. I look forward to continuing to build something truly special here in Yardley Borough. Thank you all again for your support. It truly means a great deal to me. No words of mine could ever fully express just how grateful I am to have all of you, not just in my corner, but all of us that serve here. So with that, Madam Mayor, let's put Yardley Borough on the map like never before.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your full name.
I, William James Golden III,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
uphold the laws and ordinances
uphold the laws and ordinances
of the Borough of Yardley,
of the Borough of Yardley,
and that I will discharge the duties
and that I will discharge the duties
of the Office of Chief of Police
of the Office of Chief of Police
of the Borough of Yardley
of the Borough of Yardley
with fidelity
with fidelity
and to the best of my judgment
and to the best of my judgment
and ability.
and ability.
Congratulations.
And through that letter, there was one more person who was not mentioned. My darling wife, Randy, who has supported me this past year and a half fully, and I really could not have done it without her at home. So thank you. I can get all my staff up here. If you guys can make it through.
Congratulations, Chief.
APO Stu. APO Stu.
Everybody look right here. Who do we got? We got everybody? All right, 1, 2. Awesome. And then you want to get one with all the APOs in it too?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Stand on the chair.
Take it easy. Squeeze. Squeeze in here next to our co here.
Very nice. Okay, look this way. Smile. It's a bigger barrel hall.
Photo with us?
Oh, yeah.
Jared, would you mind taking a shot of me and
I need that.
Close.
Have fun tonight. Oh. Do you want these? Do you want me to keep them for now? Keep them safe?
And that's included in our report.
Accept it.
Congratulations.
Yay!
Martha, I'm going to just make my statement and I'll hand it over to you.
Sure.
I should have.
What is this? Where did we get the lectern from? How did it get carried upstairs?
Okay. I know that folks are not used to. You didn't realize how tall I was.
It's hilarious.
Much taller. Yes. Thank you, Craig. Good. I'll just wait a few more seconds for everyone to get down the stairs. Okay. Do you want the gentleman to come up front? From Keystone, you may come up. All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Before we begin tonight, I just want to acknowledge that the energy in this room, many of you are here because you care deeply about our community. And I appreciate the commitment and the commitment to being here tonight, whether you know, whether you're just asking questions, want to get more information, or maybe you have a concern. Because the room is full and the feelings may be strong, we need to ensure that everyone feels safe and respected, especially when they speak. So my responsibility as president is to protect every resident's right to be heard. And these guidelines that I'm going to read are here to help us do that. And I know that you'll help me do that tonight. I have no doubt. Public comment on this agenda item, which I've moved up because very astutely, Councilwoman Howlett said, I don't think everyone wants to wait to the very end of our meeting to do this. And I think you're right. Everyone's going to be fresh and supportive. In any case, the public comment on the agenda item will take place after Councilwoman Howlett's presentation she's going to do, when she and Keystone Collections will take your questions. I want to recognize Councilwoman Howlett for the extensive work that you have done, that you put into researching this, the questions that you've asked of so many people, and the preparation of such a detailed presentation, our guests, and the FAQ that I hope everyone has had a chance to read. Additionally, I want to thank our guests from Keystone. Thank you for coming tonight. I appreciate it. And I appreciate that you're going to be sharing your experience and your expertise, which will help with the explanation of this item that we are bringing forward. I want to remind everyone that there will be no vote tonight. This is not a vote. This is strictly to be educated and to ask questions. When we reach public comment, I would ask that you raise your hand, and I'll call on speakers in order. Come up to the podium. I'm going to ask you to state your name, or maybe Ms. Howell will do it, and whether you live in the borough. Don't need your address. Comments I would like to limit to 3 minutes so everyone has a chance to speak. For tonight's program, normally you would address me, but I'm going to ask that you do address Councilwoman Howlett and our guests from Keystone, since they're the ones that are going to be presenting tonight. But there will be no debate between the speakers and yourself. I will not allow the public to, I will allow, the public to ask related follow-up questions if time permits. Interruptions, applause, shouting, or reacting to speakers will not be permitted, within reason. I mean, it's okay to get excited, but it's not okay to, cause a disruption, okay? Because we want all of our speakers that are up here and our guests and our council people to feel comfortable, because we do put a lot of time and effort into this. We are your neighbors. We are affected the same way as everyone else is, and I just want to make that point, because whatever we ask you to buy into, if we are asking you to buy into something, then I want you to know that we all are affected the same way. So let me move on and finish up by saying we may not all agree tonight, and that's okay. What matters is that we treat each other as neighbors and allow this process to unfold with patience and respect. You deserve a meeting where you can speak freely and without intimidation, and that is what I intend to uphold. Thank you for your cooperation. I will now hand over the program to Councilwoman Howlett. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
You can applaud. I'm just kidding. All right, thank you. Just trying to bring some levity to the situation. Yeah, thank you. All right.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming to this information session on earned income tax, abbreviated as EIT. I'm going to give a brief presentation on the borough's current tax and financial picture, talk about what an EIT is, and why the borough is considering one. So currently, our largest source of revenue is our property taxes, which compose about 45% of our overall revenue. If you look at revenue versus expenses, you can see that the majority of those property taxes go towards public safety, specifically our police department. And that's not unusual for a town our size with its own police department. Most of the property values in the borough have not changed since 1972, the last time Bucks County did a property revaluation. Bucks County does those valuations, not the borough. Because they're fixed at that 1972 level, in order for our taxes to keep up with inflation, we continually have to raise the property tax rate. Here in orange is inflation since 2020, and in blue is our property taxes. And you can see that even though we had property tax increases in 21, 23, and 25, our property taxes have not kept up with inflation. At the beginning of this year, we also hit the property tax limit for general purposes, which includes funding for our police force, administration, code enforcement, and public works. Because we hit that property tax limit, and because our property taxes have not kept up with inflation, right now our expenses exceed our revenue, meaning we're dipping into savings to operate. Right now, that deficit is about $86,000, but next year, with cost increases as well as salary and benefits promised under the police collective bargaining agreement, I anticipate that cost will grow to around $187,000. A revenue source that does keep up with inflation is an earned income tax. It's a tax of 0.5% to 1% on income, including salaries, tips, commissions, and bonuses. It excludes Social Security, disability, capital gains, and active military pay. Per Keystone Collections and Berkheimer Collections, an estimated 588 residents already pay around $266,000 in EIT to other Pennsylvania municipalities. This is lost revenue for Yardley Borough. That's money our residents are paying to make other communities better when it could be coming here and improving our community. Because it's a revenue source that keeps up with inflation, the vast majority of municipalities in Bucks County, as well as Pennsylvania overall, already have an EIT. On this map, you can see 51 out of 54 Bucks County municipalities have an EIT. Those are shown light blue, the boroughs, and dark blue, the townships. And the three that don't are ourselves, Lower Makefield, and Bristol Borough. It's important to note that Lower Makefield and Bristol Borough recently sold their sewer authorities to private entities, which has helped offset their need for an EIT. However, their residents have since seen their rates on these services increase. Keystone Collections use 2024 state income tax data as well as census data to estimate the maximum revenue we could receive under an EIT. However, this revenue has to be adjusted downwards because residents who work in Philadelphia would not pay an EIT to us because there's a special Philadelphia wage tax that supersedes any local EIT taxes. However, that withstanding, as you can see, this revenue would be enough to offset eliminate our operating deficit, reduce property taxes, and eliminate per capita and occupational taxes, and sustainably fund the borough with an inflation-adjusting revenue source. We have several future anticipated expenses that are very large, and without an EIT, we have no clear way of paying for them. The last three are public works projects that would primarily be paid for with grants, but even if the borough had to pay for 5% of those costs, which is not unusual under a grant situation, we still don't have the budgetary means to do so without an EIT. Just to zoom in on one of those, the very building you're in is in need of a lot of deferred maintenance. We've known since about 2018 that the police roof is leaking and needs to be replaced, and we've been waiting to get the funding to do that. In the time that we've been waiting, the problem has gotten worse, and it's become more expensive to prepare. We need as a town to be financially flexible enough to address these types of issues early on so they don't get bigger. These are some potential allocations of EIT revenue that range from low to high investment in the borough. All of them, as you can see in yellow, include a property tax reduction as well as elimination of the per capita and occupational tax. It is important to note that the council has not voted on an EIT itself at all, let alone one of these budgetary scenarios. These are just for illustrative purposes. I've been asked, why don't we just increase the taxes on businesses? Well, there's a 1988 Pennsylvania law that prohibits us from issuing new business privilege taxes and raising our rates since then, so we are not able to change those. We are sensitive to the fact that everything is more expensive right now and that affordability is a real issue. I believe everybody in Yardley Borough works hard and deserves to keep as much of their income as possible. I currently do not pay an EIT, so this would be a loss of income for myself, as it would be for the majority of people on council. However, I hope I've made the case today that there is a real financial need for this tax. We are here to answer your questions and listen to your comments. We have John and Mike from Keystone Collections who can help you with more of the personal tax questions, i.e. I have this sort of business or I work in X location, how would this tax impact me? And then the Yardley Borough Council questions can be directed towards me. Please come up to this podium. You can literally talk down to us. Give your name and whether you're a borough resident, and we will do our best to answer your questions and address your comments. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilwoman Howard. At this time, we have our first contestant. Gentleman in front. Yeah, you were the first?
Yeah, Dave Carroll, Yardley Walk. 2 quick questions, if you could put your slide back up.
Which one?
The one that showed the numbers for a second, where you showed,
A lot of them have nothing.
I'm sorry, the tax, pretty funny, right? Pretty funny. So the 801, is it linear if you cut it instead of 50 basis points, it's 25 basis points? Would it just be like half of that number, $400,000 if you did like a 25 basis EIT?
Yeah,
It's like that. I'm asking these guys too, the Keystone guys. That's right then. And then second question is, all the maintenance stuff, could we bond that? Can you bond? Can we do a bond to fix the roof?
It's possible for the city to do a bond. We end up paying interest on that.
But it would spread it out over the life of the roof, right? I mean, like you did a 20-year bond, your roof would probably be 20 years. And the same with if you did, those stormwater improvements or something like that.
We have a lot of projects, though.
No, I'm with you. But there's no, like, we're not inhibited in terms of our fiscal situation.
No, we're not inhibited.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you.
I want to really thank you. You did a lot of work, you can see.
I just saw the gentleman in the black hat. You look familiar. Oh, yes, I do know you.
You know, if I take my hat off and you see my hairstyle or lack thereof, then you know.
Thank you, former Councilman
My name is
Finer.
Ori Finer, resident of the borough, former member of council, and I thought it'd be interesting to share some perspective with you all because I was on council 10 years ago when we were looking at doing an EIT. And at the time, we evaluated it, and I actually came out against it because there was room to raise the millage to be able to absorb the costs. And so my perspective was, hey, we don't need to do this now. Let's do it the way we can do it until we hit that wall. And lo and behold, COVID happened, inflation happened, and we hit that wall maybe a little faster than we would have otherwise. The situation we're in now is this roof that on the police department, we were very fortunate to get that grant. Normally, you don't get a grant to do maintenance work, a roof. You get a grant to do new things and new initiatives. So it was very lucky that we got that grant. We also have the annex building that's falling apart with insulation falling out of the ceiling that never even comes up in budget discussions because there's so many other things that we can't even get to that. And should we have a flood in this town? While we have some reserves, our reserves are about what they were 10 years ago. And that's too low. I think we should have $1 million in reserves. It's not a lot of money for a town. We could easily have to run in, draw a significant amount of money for a flood event. My point is that we're in that place where it's kind of like if you left your job today, your house and everything's in good shape. But after 10 years, things start to deteriorate and you would have a lot of expenses at once. And I think we're getting to that point because we're choosing between things like, do you put money into the roof, or do you put it into that roof, or do you fix the mortar, do you fix the windows? I just think that we need to improve things. And it's not a political party thing. I've been supported by people on the left, people on the right, people independent, libertarians. That's not the issue here. This is just dollars and cents and common sense. We hit the wall and we can't pay for basic things. And what I would strongly urge you to do, I think it's great that you want to look into cutting the millage. That will help people like seniors who are on fixed income because the EIT is not payable on fixed income. And so maybe they'll actually end up paying a little bit less, and I can support that. They've worked hard all their lives to live here, and they should be able to live here. But I strongly recommend that you do look at 1% and use, I don't know if you went into it, but you have a short period of time before, let's say Pennsbury does this, they would be taking half of that 1%. You have a short period of time to build the reserves at a 1% rate and get those up to a level that I think the borough needs. And you could use that time period until whatever happens in the future happens. So food for thought. Thank you very much. And thanks for having the courage to look at this.
Thank you. Okay, I'm sorry, I was not paying. Okay, sir, I don't know you, but come on up. Yes, I do. I know who it is.
Hi, I'm Steve Wetz. I'm a local business owner. I'll try to keep within my 3 minutes and stop me if I don't. Thank you for all your work. Could we possibly review the budget again? Because if you cut expenses by 5%, you'd have a $48,000 surplus. So if you could review the budget, that might help. Audit the budget. I noticed the reserves allocation went from 5,000 to 113,000. If you increased it to 27,000 from 5,000, you'd have a budget surplus. So there's a number of things in the budget that you really should look through. And I look at this budget and I see you have an 86,000 surplus, negative, which in the January budget was less. So how did it go that much? And then also the expenses went up by 253,000 from January. So that shows that how could you be off that much on something that you put on the website, and now it's all of a sudden 253,000 more. So there's just a lot of stuff. I did corporate budgeting for many years, and it just seems like a lot of stuff in there that I can't follow. And then you could float a bond for 100,000 to cover this, or 200,000 to put into a reserve. You can also, maybe when someone leaves, not hire another person. You could merge services with other local townships. The fire protection that you want to spend money on, perhaps you can merge with some others. You can also look at hiring someone to help you write for state and federal and special grants to bring in more money. And the thing is, for people who are not making a lot of money, who are young, this is a lot. They already have a lot of expenses, so you can say, well, that'll help older people on a fixed income or lower the taxes. It's not going to help them. They probably don't own businesses. But if you look at the local restaurants, I'm not a restaurant owner, by the way, who worked so hard to build this up, this is going to impact a lot of their lower income people who are working hard in this township. And to look at this and say, well, we have an $86,000 deficit, perhaps, and that's a budget deficit, I might add, not an actual deficit, and we're going to raise the revenue by 10 to 20 times as much as we need this year, even if it goes up the following year, that's excessive from my point of view, and you really have to give a thought to it. I teach corporate financial, and I teach corporate, and I teach government budgeting, and I've looked at what tax increases do to areas and states and countries, and I speak about it, and I've been doing it for 35 years. It's going to impact you, and I haven't heard, it's great, oh, we'll get this money. what's the impact of it? How has that been figured out? Because businesses are going to move out, just like when you put in the business tax, all the realtors moved out. Don't you think these restaurants are going to move out? We've worked so hard in this town to build up a nice community and have a nice downtown, which is cleaned up and people are coming through it, and it doesn't, and it's going to get knocked down. So I'll leave it at that, but there are other things you can do, and you have to be aware. The renters are going to move out. They can just get up and move, and they'll do it. So do you really want to lower you might raise this tax, but you're going to lower other revenue and other people who are moving out. So
Thank
that's
you.
it. Thank you.
Just to address, in the published budget online, the deficit that we're showing is around 77,000. We had over budget snow costs. No one anticipated we had this much snow this winter. So that's why the deficit was adjusted upwards to 86. Actually, now that we have all the snowboard bills from quarter end, it's actually higher. I have to look at, you're saying that we increased expenses by 253,000 from our published documents on?
I looked, it's showing now 2606 for this meeting, and the one I looked in January was 2253. So I don't know where that money came from. And the other thing,
Revenue at 2606 is what you're saying? Are you looking just on the general fund, or are you looking on the total budget?
total budget.
Okay.
I can go through it with you later. I don't,
Okay.
maybe I've misread it, or it really was that much difference. I don't know. And there are a number of other things that you could possibly go through and see if they can be changed. For example, the reserve going from 5,000 to 113. We all understand reserves are important. But when you take these lower, people making 25,000 or 50,000 have to pay $250 to $500 more living in this township or working here. It adds up for them. And they're young people, a lot of them, and they're not going to stay. They're going to leave.
The capital reserve, this increase is not just like a savings account that happened this year. That's for public works projects. That's for what we were responsible for on the sidewalk. That's for some of our payments on our stormwater improvements that are happening this year. So it's not in the sense we just increased our savings last year. That's going to very specific projects. I believe we only increased our emergency savings about 5,000 this year. So there is a real savings issue.
So it was 108,000 then increase for those other projects.
I'd like to interrupt and ask that you
Okay.
take it offline.
Absolutely. Thank you for your
And I
time.
do appreciate
Thank you
it.
for answering.
Thank you. Sir?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry. I need to, what? No one's raising hands?
Anyone else? Yes. Okay.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Sorry, I didn't
Come on
mean to
up.
call on anyone.
It's okay, I got it.
I'm not exactly sure what I have to say, what? Are you? Oh, hi. Hi. I'm Corey Feiner, poet laureate at Yardley. And when I think of planting trees or planting things, I don't think of myself. It's really easy to think like, I don't want to pay more for anything, but we really are in a time of trust issues. It's a gouging time. How many of you have hidden fees, like everywhere, left and right? Like how many people can say, well, they're spending on this and they just spent on that. And as far as this town, I've been around this country and a lot of towns are in trouble, but not our town. And that's because we have people like everyone on the council here, and we have Chief Golden who walk these streets, who put in their time. And as far as I see people knocking on doors to get into this town. So it's easy for our brains to say, well, this is going to happen and this is going to happen, but this is not for now. This is for when there's a flood. You all remember the flood on Taylorsville Road. What if there's no sewer? How many people will move out then? How many houses will be ruined? So again, I'm not a numbers person, so everyone comes up to me going, Corey, you're wrong about this and that. I'm just saying, let's try to get off sides and think big picture and not think what's politically convenient. Like no one's going to like me anymore if we, do this tax. And again, I'm not exactly like, and also it's really fair, I have to say. There's a lot of stipulations in here of like, if you pay tax here, you don't have to pay tax here. If you make under this amount, you don't have to pay. So this is not some blanket tax so, we can get a new roof. I mean, it's also for road resurfacing. I mean, how many of you been to places like no offense to Alabama, I love Alabama, but some of the roads, like, it affects people coming in. It affects people's experience. And this town is flooded with young people. When I first moved here, there was nothing here. I mean, for those who has been here for like 30, 40 years, it's crazy what's been happening, right? And that's very unusual for this time. And we're all in a crunch. We all feel it. It's a hard time, whether you're involved or not, just emotionally and physically and financially. But if we don't chip in now, we're going to pay later. So
Thank you.
that's all. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Ditto. Dr. Perlman, please come up.
This is nice up here.
Don't you feel taller?
Yes. Dawn Perlmutter. So implementing the earned income tax creates a highly regressive tax structure, and it disproportionately impacts low-income residents. It creates a tremendous amount of administrative complexity. For example, all these business owners that like hairdressers and restaurants, they're now going to have to navigate all these jurisdictions, track different rates based on employee residency. It's going to be a lot for the business owners. They're going to have an increase in cost to do all of that. There's also potential for double taxation, and I don't know if it lacks exemptions for poverty level income, meaning it takes a higher percentage of income from lower earners compared to high earners. And for example, do you realize that if you pass this, every single vendor that comes out every week for the farmer's market, every vendor that comes here on Harvest Day, every event you have, they're going to have to pay the EIT tax. And how are you going to even enforce that? So I do think one of the negative impacts are going to be on the events that you've worked so hard with Experience Yardley. I mean, they are, anybody who comes here is going to have to, do the same things that we're required to do. The other thing is that Keystone Collections, it's my understanding they impose statutory penalties of 1% per month up to 15% maximum, plus interest on late earned income tax payments. Now, that's a lot, So we're losing control. We have a tax collector, and they're going to be making all this money, and there's going to be people who are confused, who don't do this right away, and they're set up. That's your business model. So it's not going to be like, the person and you're like, well, I'm having a problem this month. Could you, give me some more time? That's gone. That's gone. So that needs to be thought of also. Let's see. Loss of local control. So again, I just think that's important to consider all of these times that you built up the Experience Yardley. That would be quite a blow to the vendors. And I did have one other comment. This business privilege tax. I don't know if the mercantile tax is different or if it's just another name for the same thing. Oh, it is. So.
No, I'm not agreeing. I don't know.
Okay.
I would
So
have to
again,
defer to an expert.
maybe, like I said before, with the business privilege tax, and I'm not sure how that works with these, with what she said with the 1988 law, but there's other Pennsylvania municipalities, Lower Marion, Cheltenham, they do that instead in place of their earned income tax. And I understand that small businesses, we don't want to hurt small businesses. So something like that could be structured where it starts at like 100,000. Because we have very large businesses here that like the Wawa and all these bars that, that are only paying $500 a year. The same thing I pay for my business. So I just think that that's a way to think about it. So that, because we do have some really big things.
I'm going to ask you to wrap it up because I
Okay, I'm
think,
done.
honestly, there's a lot, you can stay there for a second. There's a lot to unpack there. You have a lot of points. I would like, if possible, that they would be addressed.
You bring up some great points. Let me introduce myself. My name is Michael Mazzella. I serve as legal counsel for Keystone Collections Group. Just here as a resource on tax issues. I don't have a dog in this fight. So what I really caught were four key points I just want to hit on. Just to give you more information, not by way of retorting anything, just to explain. Business privilege and mercantile tax are one and the same. Business privilege is for services. Mercantile is for retail and wholesale transactions.
Okay.
That restriction on a millage, gross receipts-based tax applies to both. So Lower Merion, I serve on various business privilege tax committees as well. And, I was born in 1989. 1988 was when that prohibition on the millage rate, millage-based thing. So yes, Lower Merion, Cheltenham, I know those collectors, and they do have very robust systems. Unfortunately, that law is kind of stuck in place there. One of the first things that you mentioned was, generally speaking, compliance. Employers, what's the cost of them complying with this law? So, and I thought in one of the first slides, it showed all of the areas in Bucks County that have the tax. So the statutory framework here, I don't want to bore people with legalese, but is the Local Tax Enabling Act says that every Pennsylvania employer is required to withhold the tax. So what this means is that any Yardley Borough business that has a resident of another municipality that has the tax coming in, they have to withhold the tax. So if I live in
Newtown Borough.
Newtown, Upper Makefield, and I'm coming into Yardley to work, that business has to withhold my tax for me. It's a legal requirement. And every taxpayer fills out what's called a certificate of residency form. This is where I live, this is where I work. And the law requires that the employer withhold the higher of the two rates. In the case of Yardley right now, you're comparing something to zero. So the employers, sure, I'm sure there are some small employers in Yardley who only employ Yardley Borough residents, but if anybody comes in from outside of Yardley Borough, that employer is required to withhold the tax, and they probably already are. So again, I don't know, and we work with all sorts of large payroll companies. A lot of employers are set up on that. Point on the penalty and the interest. That goes to the borough. So the 1% penalty capped at 15% and the statutory interest, that's the borough's money. Keystone does not take that money. How Keystone gets paid throughout the Commonwealth is simply this. For current earned income tax, Keystone receives a commission. It's in Bucks County 1.34% of the tax that comes in. For delinquents, the statutory framework is Act 192 of 2004 allows Keystone to assess collection costs on the taxpayer. Per the resolution passed by the Bucks County Tax Collection Committee, that is 10% of outstanding face penalty and interest. Now, delinquent tax is 2-3 years down the line. If the taxpayer never files a tax return, never pays, the Department of Revenue supplies the tax administrator, Keystone, with earnings information. Keystone compares it, sends out delinquent notices. That's when those fees get added on. I will mention that the law gives a 30-day grace period without the statutory penalty. But talking about revenue here, penalty and interest would be the borough's money. So just to point of clarification, one thing I wanted to ask you, because sort of my expertise area, you mentioned a concern about double taxation. Could you speak more about that?
No, I really can't.
So, okay, that's fine, and I'm not trying to set
I'm not sure I understand
I'm not trying to set a trap. It's a very reasonable concern.
Yeah.
So, as far as double taxation goes, the United States Supreme Court says, no, you can't do that. You have to give taxpayers credit for taxes paid to other areas. So, so the big one is Philadelphia. Philadelphia has a very, very high tax rate, and it's a very complicated thing, but if you have somebody who works in Philadelphia and lives in Yardley, you're not going to see any money from them. That's an oversimplification, but that's true. Something interesting is that Pennsylvania has a reciprocity agreement with New Jersey. What that means is that New Jersey is not allowed to assess state-level taxes on Pennsylvania residents and vice versa. What this also means is that if you have residents of Yardley who work in the pharmaceutical industry in, say, Princeton, they're going to owe 1% or 0.5%, whatever you choose, to Yardley Borough. Because there is no double taxation. They're not being taxed by another state. They cannot be. It's a matter of law. If you have somebody who goes to a non-reciprocal state, New York, Delaware, they could claim credit for the tax that they paid. And basically all that does is say, okay, I paid tax on $100,000 of income to Delaware. I now have to pay tax on $100,000 of income to Yardley. It's double taxed. It wipes out. So there is a framework available for that to prevent double taxation.
Okay.
So just, again, I hope this was just informative, not at all to retort the points, but I just wanted to make you aware of that.
No, sorry. Okay, thank you, I appreciate it.
President Appelbaum,
Yes,
there's
Mayor.
just been a few points brought up about restaurant workers, vendors, small businesses, and I think that's a misunderstanding about who would be taxed under an EIT that I would love for us to clear up, Martha.
Yes, I mean, it's an individual tax, so it's not, I mean,
On people who live here.
well, and
Please?
yeah, I mean.
Can we play out the scenario, though? Someone comes into work at a restaurant in Yardley Borough.
If they're not already paying EIT to another municipality, we have the option of passing for non-residents also an EIT tax too. So yes, if they're not already paying it to their home municipality, they could be taxed. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I'm not going to just let me clarify something. People have spoke already. If the time permits, I'll bring you back up. But sir, please come up.
Before I come up, can we get clarity on this? Mayor.
Excuse me, you're going to have to come up or,
Up and state your
I'm
name.
sorry.
Whether you're a resident.
My name's Jeff Schrader. I'm a 10-year resident of the borough and a 4-year business owner in the borough. I'll preface my comments by thanking the administrators of the borough who are here for their efforts and for all of you council members for your efforts on behalf of our community. I won't get into the weeds because it's too easy to get into the weeds here, and I'm not certain that that's the purpose of our discussion. I'm hoping, Councilwoman Hallett, that we're going to have a discussion if this concept moves forward to debate this further. Is that the case? Will we have that opportunity? Tonight's not that only opportunity, is it?
No, of course not. You are welcome to talk about this at any public comment period after this meeting, and we can have additional special designated time towards EIT.
Good.
Not your only opportunity to voice your opinion.
Good. So my comments are going to be delivered respectfully but forthrightly. And I'll piggyback on some of our most recent presenters, including our business professor and Ms. Perlmutter. I'll try not to be redundant, however. But what you're contemplating here is the addition of a tier of tax that's never existed before. And you're carving out a segment of the populace of Yardley Borough to put that tax on. That segment is the working class of Yardley Borough. And that includes not only employees, it includes business owners. And Mayor, what I was trying to get clarity on, it's not just the workers or the employees. Net earnings from business, legal counsel, you'll confirm this, net earnings from business are subject to this tax. And I'll come back to that in a minute. But back to the gravity of what you're contemplating here. You're adding 1% to a 3.07% state tax base already. That changes, it's a sea change in state and local taxation for this borough. You're going to 4.07%. Tell me where else you will find a 32.5% tax increase on the working class. That's what you're going to have here, 32.5%. If you put it in a percentage, it hits home a lot stronger than if you think about it as 1% of maybe someone's salary of $25,000 or $50,000. It's really meaningful. Secondly, it's permanent. You're putting this on the backs of all the current and future residents of Yardley Borough who will be subject to this tax. Now, we happen to have, and I enjoy being a member of, a very vibrant business community in Yardley Borough. One reason you have a vibrant business community is because of the way that these businesses mix, mesh, and flourish to make Yardley Borough what is Yardley Borough and to make it the attraction that it is. This is a decidedly business-unfriendly tax. I hope all of you here know that businesses that are registered in this borough already pay a business privilege tax of $500. You will now be adding onto that this 1% earned income tax. You will also be adding on the burden of businesses having to account for and to report for this earned income tax. You also put businesses at a disadvantage because if they're looking to hire someone and that person has an option of working here in Yardley Borough and paying a 1% earned income tax or working somewhere else and not paying the 1% income tax, well, that just might factor into their decision-making process. So you put businesses here at a competitive disadvantage. Now, I just want to touch on other alternatives to implementing the EIT. And I ask, and I go back to your comments, sir, I didn't get your name. Cost containment, cost reduction, planned deferral of expenditures should all be considered. Other presenters have touched on bonding. Why isn't bonding being considered? Planned financing might be the answer here. Can we institute, as many other municipalities have, a fire tax? Are we allowed to institute a fire tax, a direct fire tax?
Yes.
Do we know?
Yes.
Has that been considered?
We have a direct fire tax.
Is it a direct fire tax?
Yes, we have.
So if it's a direct fire tax, is fire included in that grouping?
Which grouping?
Well, you had the budget up there before, where you showed there's the large part of real estate taxes meeting the need for police.
Yes, police, fire, ambulance, and
But those
emergency
are property
management.
taxes. Is the fire tax considered part of the property tax?
Yes, it is a property tax.
Good. So then we have a fire tax that's directed as a fire tax.
I'm going to ask you just to bring it down a notch, please. I'm asking respectfully. I feel, I'm asking you to bring it down a
In
notch.
terms of what, demeanor or?
Decorum, demeanor, yes, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, that's fine. Yes, certainly. The next point that I wanted to make regarding alternatives to implementing the EIT have we exhausted all reasonable means of additional taxation? What's wrong with our seeking to raise the cap? Have we contemplated that?
Yes, we've contemplated that. We would have to go in front of a judge and say that we've exhausted other means of taxation, and they would naturally ask, have you considered an EIT? So that's what we're doing.
Would they ask that, though? Is that what they would ask? Is the EIT?
Yes, that is.
Is that a default question that they would ask?
I don't know if there's an official judicial manual that has that question. It's a reasonable question that I was advised by our legal counsel that might come up. Furthermore, they can only raise it another 5 mils.
What would that do for us if they did?
That would buy us about 2 or 3 years, maybe. We can't cost reduce our police force any more than we already have.
Okay. All right, good. So those are the points that I wanted to make. I want to thank you for your time and for indulging my commentary and my questions. Thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate you.
Mike, businesses pay it because they would be a pass-through, if somebody is individually. But if, let's say, a business makes money and keeps it within that business and doesn't pay out income to an individual, not necessarily.
So it's not a direct tax on the business, and it really depends on how the business itself is organized. So the taxes on earned income compensation, that's what we're talking about, that's your workers. It's also on net profits. So net profits, a partner in a partnership. Businesses can be organized in many different ways. So for example, if you're a subchapter S corporation, those business profits are exempt from taxation for local EIT, provided that the partner takes a reasonable salary. There's no corporate component of the tax. It is strictly an individual, what I'm reporting as my net profits, or I would pay 1% on that.
So if you're Schedule C, it's 1%.
Correct. If you're a Schedule C sole proprietor, it's a 1%. Certain other types of things, limited partnerships, anything passive or investment-based, not subject to the tax. If you're a general partner, yes. By and large, yes, it's going to be taxable. One point, just very, very ticky-tack, but you did bring it up, and I want to mention it, about having a non-resident earned income tax. That is up to the borough. Plenty of Keystone's clients have a resident earned income tax, but do not have a non-resident income tax. The only restriction on that is the non-resident rate cannot be higher than the resident rate, because constitutionally, that's considered discrimination against non-resident. It stifles business. So that is up to the borough. It's not, you're going to do an EIT, it doesn't mean you have to have the non-resident component.
I have a clarifying question. If you own a business, if you have a business that operates in the borough, but your business is established elsewhere, like you live in, say, Newtown or something, are you paying to Yardley or you're paying to Newtown? Some of the business owners may have businesses here, but they're actual residents and businesses somewhere else.
Those business owners would be paying to where they live. Okay. So in your example, they would be paying to Newtown.
Okay.
Okay, Lynn, would you, well, you please come up. No, you got to come up.
This really quickly, and it goes to exactly what you said. So there's a business privilege tax that we had in Yardley Borough, and if you implement the EIT, does that mean the net profit of the same employer, they're paying both sides? So they're paying a net profit tax and they're paying an EIT on their net profit?
Yes, those would be.
Separate taxes, right?
Those would be considered separate. The business privilege tax is an entity level tax. It's a tax on the entity, and the earned income tax is a tax on the individual.
So that there's no provision in what I've heard tonight that would limit Schedule C entity, to your point, of not being subject to voting. So it's not quite double taxation, because I get it, it's two separate areas of tax. But implementing it then would subject business owners who live in Yardley Borough and operate a business in Yardley Borough to vote. Is that correct?
Yes, and that's consistent with how it's done in the rest of the county.
Pardon me. Thank you for the question, but I must insist, as we move on, that you come to the podium, tell us who you are, and if you live in the borough. Who had their hand up next? Was that you, Craig? Okay, well, I'll try.
So I'm Craig Peters, and I live in the borough here. Just two questions for you guys. Heard something referred to, the vendors that may come out on Harvest Day will have to deal with EIT, and that's a big burden for them. Can you talk about that a little bit? Also, are pension incomes susceptible to this? I know Social Security is not, but how about pensions?
Pension, no. Can I have some help on the vendor question?
Quick point on the pension thing. A true pension, yes. There are many different types of retirement type plans.
Defined benefit plans and annuities, two separate.
Annuities are not going to be subject to it. Pensions not going to be subject to it. 401k normal distributions will not be subject to it. Early distributions will be subject to the tax, subject to the cost recovery method, which means you can take up to your contributions to the plan out pre-tax. That doesn't touch the federal penalty stuff. So IRAs similarly, although consider the difference between investment and employer side. So it's just, and the big one, non-qualified deferred compensation plans, those are taxable upon distribution. The contributions are not taxable. So I'm not familiar with Harvest Day. I'm assuming it's just a day where
it's a one-day thing.
Come in for one day. So, bless you. That is a tough question to answer without the specifics, and I'm certainly
And they're
not
charged
trying-
a fee to rent the table or whatever, and then it's.
So what I would, I'm not trying to ask the question, but it depends on the vendor by vendor basis. What are they doing the rest of, are they operating that as a business the rest of the year from some other location? Right? So, it's interesting, right before COVID, the law changed to kind of touch on these kind of temporary setups. And what the law did was it enacted a 90-day rule. It said, doing business in 90 days in one place, then that becomes someone's workplace location. Really what this was designed was for oil and gas companies on the western side of the state. They would have people all over the place, and payroll was kind of difficult. And then the world stopped, and everyone, and work changed. People started working remotely, and so now we have this kind of idiosyncratic 90-day rule at the local level. I don't know that, so like I said, it's difficult for me because I could envision one situation where one person is selling widgets and it's the one time they do it. Or one person is, I have a pop-up shop that goes around other places and I have employees. And do you see like that?
It's going to be all the above like that.
Right. So I would say without being able to really get in the weeds on it, some would and some wouldn't.
And could the borough decide not to require EIT being paid by people that come for the Harvest Day? Just to skip that whole melange of issues that'll create? Don't answer now, I mean, but it's like.
Yeah,
We could not enact a non-resident EIT. That would help.
We want them to come. It's a big deal for our day, yeah.
Isn't it just like wherever you live is like where you file your taxes? So like the farmer's market, the farmers are coming in from, say, Solebury, and they're not here, but their business and farm is in Solebury. They're not paying Yardley EIT because they're selling in Yardley, but they live in Solebury, so they're paying EIT in Solebury.
That is,
correct?
that is correct.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Correct.
So, and the non-resident, that's why I bring up that 90-day rule. They're not here for 90 consecutive days, so it would not trigger that.
Okay, great, thank you. Thank you very much. Hey, one last request. Martha, can you put the mat back up, please?
Yes. Wait, where'd it go?
I know it's there.
Sorry.
I've seen it.
There it is.
So now, why are we the only ones, along with Bristol Borough and Lower Mayfield, that don't have this? Are we really clever, or we're just behind the times? Just a question, right? It seems like for our long-term financial health,
Yeah.
this is the way to go.
We have a lot higher
What do you have to
property
opinion?
taxes than a lot of other municipalities. There is a history to this tax. The council did try to pass it before, and so this is something that's been considered for a while. I can't give you a non-subjective opinion why we don't have it, but, you know, you do see it in our property taxes. Absolutely.
Thank you. I missed a person, I think is on the third row. Is that you, madam? Please come up.
So I'm Kristen Strobelt, been a resident here for 12 years. Just have a couple of comments that I think have been touched on a little bit before. First of all, my husband and I, we moved into Yardley from another township in Pennsylvania where there wasn't an earned income tax. I work in New Jersey. My, local taxes are not withheld, even though there's reciprocity in the state income tax. And I just want to say it was a huge headache to file quarterly earned income taxes. The opportunity for error, for then facing penalties is high. You're not, at the end of the year, you get your W-2 form. You've got some accurate numbers to work with. With the quarterly numbers, we found that a lot of times you're working with estimates, and there's a lot of opportunity for Keystone then to come down and say, you made the wrong estimate, now we're penalizing you for that. And I don't know if that's been considered or not, but I just want to speak as having paid earned income tax in another township that it was a big burden, and it was a big burden quarterly. I mean, we all know we just passed April 15th, the big tax day, and that's, a kind of stressful thing, and now you have to file your taxes every quarter, not just annually. The other thing I want to say, and I was here last time we considered the earned income tax, and in our culture, in our society today, there's too much of generational and class conflict, I think. And I feel like this just adds to that. I hear a lot of talk about retirees having a fixed income. And I don't know about the rest of you, but I also have a fixed income. I do not get to go to my employer and say, Yardley Borough is enacting an earned income tax. Can you please increase my wages by 1% to cover these costs? They will not do that. They do not care. This will just simply be an additional cost and expense for me and for anyone else who is working, and especially, I'm older now, but my kids are starting their families. I've got young grandchildren, and I see how hard my kids are trying to provide their children with the same kind of benefits and things that they had when they were growing up. And it's hard, it's challenging. The world has changed a lot. And so I think, I'm not an accountant, I don't know what the other options are for taxes, but I'd like us to really, I'd like to ask you to really consider, is this a fair burden? At the beginning of this meeting, we pledged allegiance to the flag, with liberty and justice for all. And I always view justice as being fairness. And if we're targeting a fraction of the residents of Yardley to pay this tax, that's not fairness for all. All of us in this room and all of us who live here in this community benefit from the services and the just everything this community has. And I think it's fair to ask all of us to contribute to the services that are provided.
Thank you. Do you want to remain for a second? Was there any response to some of the issues she brought up?
I can touch on the quarterly filing that you had brought up. So for the benefit of the room, for individuals earning net profits who obviously would not have taxes withheld, as well as individuals who do not have their income tax subject to withholding. The law requires them to file quarterly. So I understand when you're dealing with estimates, you may not know what you're going to make at the end of the year. And so there are two safe harbors available in the law that will prevent you from being penalized. The first one is a little, nobody really uses this anymore. This is more for withholding errors. It's if 90% of your liability is met by the fourth quarter filing deadline, you will not be penalized. But the one that is the better one, in my opinion, and this was passed in 2018, so I think you probably were a Yardley resident at that point, but it's 4 equal quarterly payments equivalent to what you paid last year. So it doesn't matter what your income will be, you file and square up on April 15th. So the example that I give when I give continuing ed talks is I'm an attorney and I make $100,000 a year, $1,000 liability, I make $250 payments. But let's say I say, I don't really want to work for Keystone anymore. I'm going to go out on my own, and I make $100 million, right? Great, right? Well, I can still meet my safe harbor if I make 4 quarterly payments of $250 each. Now, I'm going to owe a lot of money on April 15th, but I'm not going to pay penalty on it. So it is something in the law that does assist in that situation, and it's a totally valid concern, but that is something that is available there. Was there something else you wanted me to touch on there?
I just wanted to address, we are concerned with the fairness, and I appreciate you bringing that up. We don't have perfectly fair taxes right now. There's a lot of people whose property values are a lot lower than maybe they should be, and people who have more recently built homes that pay a lot more in property tax. And maybe if it was maybe if we had a property reevaluation more recent than 1972, that would change. We have people who don't generate that much trash who are paying the same, trash fee as a family of 4 next door to them. I don't know a perfectly fair way to do this. We are trying to make it as fair as possible. We're trying to benefit renters by taking away the per capita and the occupational tax. If you have more ideas on how to make things more fair, please let me know. And we are still open to, other alternatives to this tax. So we appreciate people bringing them up.
I appreciate that. I just hope you would consider that, like I said, we talk a lot about fixed income with retired people, and the reality is most working people are also on a fixed income. And to simply say, oh, it's fair because these people are on a fixed income and these people are not, that just creates generational warfare and conflict. Because the reality is most of us cannot change our income without going out and seeking another job or something like that. And that applies across the board, regardless of your age. And I am concerned about placing an undue burden on young families. I think we want young families to want to come to Yardley and to settle here and to feel welcome here. And, obviously there are young people in this room, so young people are doing it, but
Thank you.
I just want to make sure that we consider and try to make every effort to make it as fair as we can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Councilwoman, may I make a couple of statements? This affects so many people just in this room, including myself.
Yeah.
It brings me great sorrow when my daughter is telling me that she can't afford health insurance because she's turning 26 in June, as an example.
Yeah.
Is that fair? Well, no. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, I don't know. But the point is that we're not approaching this without souls. It really, I go home and it hurts me to think about it. But I say to you also, there's 2 things. One is, I want to make a positive contribution to this town. I want to make an investment in this town. I want this to us all to have the quality of life of what we expected when we moved here. But unfortunately, if we don't do something, then what do? Lock the doors to the borough and say we can't run this borough any longer because we can't afford the operational costs? I mean, simple things like road paving or the police or whatever it is. And I just want to say I understand personally how difficult this may be, and especially for young people, because I have 3 young people that are very close to me right now.
I have 4 young adult children and 7 grandchildren, and I feel it. I feel their pain. And, there's lots of data out there about this, and it's not that anybody isn't willing to contribute to Yardley. It's just that let's make sure that we're spreading the contributions equally because the benefits are spread equally.
Thank you, and I appreciate it. Okay, I'm just looking to see if okay, sorry, Ms. Huff. The woman behind you, Raymond, sorry. I'll get you next, Raymond.
So my name's Jenny Lynn McVan. I'm a borough resident. Thank you for doing this. I do appreciate your time. That was very extensive, not something I'd want to do. I have a few questions. With the budget, I live in the flood zone, and that is a grave concern of mine that we possibly don't have a savings towards that. Do you know if there's savings for emergency management?
We do have an emergency fund. We do have capital reserves. It's not as much as, excuse me?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's just not, as
what
much
it should be.
Yeah. We'd like to do more.
Just looking at the big picture, I'm sure most of you that live in the flood zone know this, but the reservoirs are not currently being managed the way that they used to be. And so flooding is a major concern of mine that this would be a benefit to. And is the 0.5 and the 1%, who decides that?
Council decides that, and we haven't decided on EIT period.
Okay.
And we haven't decided, if there is one.
And then 10 to 12 years ago, I think there was discussions of this, if I recall, right?
9 years ago.
Okay. Was there a vote? How did that, it just got shut down by council?
There was a vote.
Does someone, yeah, go ahead, Meg.
I believe, I was not on council, but I believe it passed and then was vetoed by the mayor, or he threatened to veto and then they re-voted and it didn't pass. But Mr. Finer, is that right?
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't think he actually officially vetoed. He said that he
Threatened to veto and then they took another vote.
Yeah, that's what's confusing.
There you go.
While I understand the resistance to it, I also am looking at this map and kind of perplexed. Right? Why are we not doing it? So I do understand the resistance because I don't want to pay more taxes, and I would be affected because I work in Lower Makefield. But I also think I want this borough to be what it is and stay what it is. So
My wife pays to a township in Montgomery County.
right.
Wouldn't I want them, she would want the money to come here instead of that town?
Right.
No offense.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
I believe I'm sorry, I lost track of who was the next. Who?
Rami.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Raymond, please come up. Sorry.
Sorry.
I wasn't.
I couldn't see.
I actually saw Raymond. I'll call you next.
Hi, Raymond Hoffelder. I just have a couple concerns about how you're estimating what you're going to bring in for this, because where we are, there's 3 groups of people who are living in the borough. You have the people who live here and work in Philadelphia, and of course they're out. And then you have a lot of people who work in Yardley but live in New Jersey, so they're out. And you also have people who live in another township but work in Yardley, so their EIT goes to that township. So you're not going to. So that's 3 groups of people you're not going to be bringing in money from.
Well, so the way the estimate comes up is that we do a comparison, or we actually get the data from the Department of Revenue. So that comes 2 years afterwards, and that helps us do our delinquent earned income taxes when we do go after individuals who still owe. But we also use that to do the estimate. We will see what they submitted on their final returns. We take that, And that's how we come up with part of our estimate. As far as the other individuals working there, we already collect for everyone else in Bucks County. So the individuals that live in Yardley that are working in Middletown, we know what they're paying. We already know what they're paying there, and that's where that non-res money comes back to you guys. We have that estimate there. But this is based off of the data that we get from the state, from Department of Revenue. We try to be very conservative. Obviously, we never want to tell you that you're going to make $3 million and turn around and it's $2 million, so we are very conservative of that. We've enacted over, I'm not sure how many we've enacted over the last 5 years, but we've always met our goal of what that is because we do it conservatively. Obviously, we don't want the borough to budget more than what's going to be there.
My other thing is if Yardley Borough has the tax but Lower Makefield doesn't, Lower Makefield's going to have a big advantage as far as people might want to move, like especially renters. Renters can go anywhere. They might leave the borough and go to Lower Makefield.
I mean, we just economically in Bucks County have not seen that exodus of renters and people move after an EIT is, I mean, we would have a big flux in Yardley Borough.
Well, it might not be a large amount, but there's always a change in behavior whenever you enact the tax.
I think there will be some change, but we're not anticipating a large-scale economic depression because of this.
And the other thing is, there's always made about, oh, the poor seniors. Well, actually, if you look at census, the seniors are actually the wealthiest group of people now versus what it used to be years ago before they, Social Security and everything. There's people living in this borough for a long time who are seniors, and they paid I know somebody that paid $30,000 for the house back in the 70s, and their house is now worth $800,000. So, I mean, I really don't feel sorry for them, and I'm in a good position too. Like, my income is actually more now than when I worked. So, and I won't have to pay it on pension. I won't have to pay it on interest. I won't have to pay it on dividends. I won't have to pay it on capital gains. I won't have to pay it on rental income. So I'm actually in pretty good shape. But I mean, I'm not just concerned about myself, though. I'm concerned about everybody else.
Yes.
And just because everybody else has the tax, that doesn't mean, oh, well, we have to jump into it too. I mean, it should be based on merit, not because somebody else has it or doing it. So.
Yeah, I agree. Our consideration of that is not just looking at our neighbors and saying everyone has it. It really is based on our budget, and it's tied to our public safety. It's tied to infrastructure that we need. It's tied to. And
then if the Pennsbury School District institutes a tax, then you're going to immediately lose half of your revenue.
Yes, we will. That's correct.
What's the chances of that happening right away? Especially because they're building a new school.
I don't know the chances of Pennsbury passing an EIT.
I can jump in on that briefly. And take this as just, it is much more difficult for a school district to enact an EIT than it is for a borough or township. Because there's something called the Act 1 index that limits a school district's amount that they can tax. The reason for this is because school districts generally take much more property tax. So it's a way of kind of capping what they can tax. Now, I'm not a municipal solicitor, so I'm by no means an expert on that, but it is not a simple opt-in. It's not a situation where Pennsbury can say, oh, well, Yardley has it, we want to pop on that. Maybe they can, but maybe they can't.
Trigger a referendum, is that correct?
Correct. There's a referendum. It's an entirely different process. The voters have to agree to it, and the school district actually has to qualify for it, meaning they can't be at existing sort of tax caps. And if they are, they've certain things they may have to get rid of, and it's a much longer process. So, I don't want to get out way in front of my skis here on this one, but that's generally my general understanding of that.
Do any other school districts in the area have an EIT?
Yes.
A lot of them. Council Rock does.
Council Rock does?
Yeah.
But they're all largely pre-existing. That Act 1 process is, I couldn't tell you when it was instituted, but it was instituted this century. So like after 2000 it was. So this tax dates back to 1965. So a lot of those taxes, I can't speak to how they were enacted at the time, mostly probably just by ordinance or resolution. because I wasn't around, but as the turn of the millennium came, Act 1 really sought to limit, and the main concern there is the property tax burden on senior citizens largely to the school districts. So there are restrictions on school districts that are not present on boroughs and townships.
Okay, that's
Thank
my
you.
comments.
Oh, yes, go ahead. Wait, come up.
My name is Rami Mahmood. I'm a borough resident, and my question, I have no comment or statement this evening. It's purely questions. I mean, it might be a little bit moot now based on Raymond's last point, but I hoped you could do a little more explanation of how it would work mechanically with Pennsbury, were we to have an EIT for the borough. I read the FAQ in the summary document. They were very helpful, but they didn't really dive into that very much. So if it's possible to explain that a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, it would be, if Pennsbury enacted an EIT, it would be still administered by Keystone, and they would send half the revenue to Yardley and half to Pennsbury. Is that what you're looking for? Sorry.
So an EIT by a school district supersedes an EIT by a township, and then they have to remit part of what they collect to the municipality?
They are entitled to 0.5% of earned income tax. Like, that's the max that they could enact. So if we were at 0.5%, then yes, it would supersede. And all our IIT, if we were at 1%, they would get 0.5%, we would get 0.5%.
So if we were at 0.5%, they would get half of that? Or
No, they'd get the full half.
They would get everything and we'd get nothing?
Yes, correct.
Talk
They
about
would have to
that.
enact an EIT.
1 second, please. Are there any, yes, please come up. I'm just trying to get to those people who have not spoken yet. I'm sorry.
Paige Peters, Yardley Borough resident. I look at that map and the red, and 2 out of the 3 had a resource to go to for revenue that we don't have. If you're concerned about how us implementing this versus Lower Makefield, I'm assuming that now that they've spent the monies that were earned from the sale of the sewer, they're going to have to consider an EIT themselves, probably within, I would guess, a few years. My other concern is that if we didn't have more revenue, the increase of the costs of running the borough are, for the most part, out of our control. If we don't have decent salaries for our police officers, if we don't have, the maintenance that we need to have to maintain where we are, if we let the holes continue to get bigger, we're going to lose what we have. We live in this wonderful little village on the river that is, people come here and like, wow, what a great place you live in. We need to take care of it, and we need money to do that. If the only reasonable way to get that money is to implement this tax, as much as I hate to see it be, I don't want a burden on myself and my neighbors, but we have to share in the maintenance of what we have. We have to pay for what we have, or it's going to be gone. We have some, beautiful homes and lovely places for people to live, and they're all going to lose their value if we don't take care of what they exist in. So I would just, ask people to consider that. And thank you very much for all the work you're doing on this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me ask again if there's any new comments from the public. Okay, I will
Thanks very much again. So to Keystone, how many boroughs, can you give us a distribution?
Introduce yourself.
Dave Carroll, Yardley.
I'm sorry, thank you.
So can you give us a distribution of the EIT in terms of like how many are full 100 basis points, how many are at 50 basis points, and how many are at 25 basis points? Do you have that?
I don't have that.
I can
Next time would be great if you don't have it now.
send you the DCD
Perfect, right.
info. No one's under 0.5%.
Okay, great. Why is that?
I don't know.
Maybe Yardley Borough could be special, right? Maybe that could, there's one.
Let me give you the general, because, so, the law says you can't be above 1% all in, okay? So, what that means is the vast majority, just across Pennsylvania, the vast majority of municipalities have 0.5%, and the corresponding, so the associated school district has 0.5%. Correct, so it's 1% total. There are add-ons where you can go above it. You have to qualify. Sure.
It's late. I'm just asking this question. If it's one, in this area, there are 3 that don't have it, right? We don't have to go to the full 1%. We could do something. I'm just trying to figure out how much of an outlier would we be, because I get that there's a problem with funding stuff. I totally get that. So if we could just get that sort of sense for that, I mean, you must have that at your fingertips. How many are at 25 basis points, 50 basis points, 75 basis points, and 100 basis points?
So the reason that's a difficult question to answer is what I kind of gave you the background, and I know it can be long-winded, I apologize, I know it's late, is that the vast majority are going to be 0.5 basis point because the associated school district also has the tax. So
we don't have that yet.
Really what you probably want to consider, and we can look at this, is and there aren't many, but every municipality that has the tax that the school district doesn't.
Yeah.
Anecdotally, just as I oversee the operations, it's probably, it's a pretty even split. I mean, the notable one off the top of my head is in Delaware County, Media Borough has a 1%, but I know some of our recent enacts have been, without an associated school district, have been 0.5%.
The reason why I bring it up is that it'd be great that we'd still be lower than everybody around us. That's the first
you're
thing,
saying.
right? You get it? The second one is this, to your deferred maintenance issues, right? And that's where everything's so great and whatever. All this is just been deferred maintenance. Why don't we look at a bonding situation? Hold on, just come back with whatever, I didn't catch all the numbers that you put up there really quickly, and I'll look at these again, but just how much of that is for the roof, for this, for that, the milling, all that stuff, and then could you throw it into a bond for $250,000 or pick whatever number you want, because this is stuff that's going to last for more than 1 year. You're flooding, wherever that lady who lives in the flood zone, that stuff, this lasts for 10, 20 years. Why are we funding this with current operating income when stuff you're going to get the benefit over 10 and 20 years? That's a question. You don't have to answer it now, but we're going to have, to your point, we're going to talk about this in the future.
Yeah, you can, I'm going to
Okay.
ask that you hold your question.
So this consideration of EIT is driven by our day-to-day expenses, primarily our police department, as well as some administration. Yes, these are.
Excuse me,
Just come back with the numbers. But money's fungible.
sir, we're not debating, please.
Okay. So we can't take out a bond for those.
No, you don't need it for that. Talking about the maintenance.
Sir,
We do pay for the majority of the except the police force and some of the millage and the potential of the firefighters. That is a lot grant funded. I understand your point on a bond. We have to pay those bonds back, and we have to demonstrate that we have enough revenue not only to pay them back, but to keep our day-to-day services going. I don't think we can do that with our current revenue picture. Not to mention, these are recurring costs. It's not like we just fix the roads once and then they're good forever. We have to keep doing it. I don't know that the borough's really comfortable being locked in to a financial picture where we're dependent on bonds that'll get increasingly interest heavy because we are not, because we're primarily financed on debt.
This is just an information session and not, I think, and this is what I want.
sir, I'm going to ask you not to debate, and your time is up. Mr. Feiner? made a fine entrance
Hi there, Uri
there.
Finer, Yardley Borough. Just a few points to shed, also because we have some new council people who haven't been through the budgeting process. So 10 years ago, when we looked at this, I was head of general government. I've been on and off council. The last two people that were heading general government prior to Councilwoman Howlett were Matt Curtin and Don Carlson. Both, I would say, on the fiscal conservative side of things. And I think I'm being pretty light in how I say that because it's fine-tooth comb city. And I've been on the side of trying to get $5,000 to apply for a grant. And mind you, I was able to raise in my last term on council grants I've been involved with over $3 million. All these projects are done by grants. 10 years ago, we were still doing projects that were self-funded. We don't have the money not only to self-fund portions of projects, we don't have the money to meet the matches of grants. We have 2 grants we received right now that we can't do anything on because the borough doesn't have enough money to meet the matching, the 15% or whatever it is. We don't have enough money to apply for the grants themselves, which is why a year or two ago, I wanted to get a grant. We didn't have the money, and a resident from Lower Makefield in the audience came and donated $5,000 towards us being able to apply for the grant. Recently, I also was a liaison to the Planning Commission, and for 2 years, they'd been trying to figure out how to get a grant to pay for the comprehensive plan, which needs to be done every 10 years. Now I think we're 12 years since it was done, so we're 2 years past due.
Funny thing is, we're going to be talking about
One of those members on the Planning Commission chipped in their own money to help us get the work started because we had not gotten the grant yet. So my point is, and 10 years ago when we were avoiding the EIT, I was looking for everything I could find, and it's easy to really, and I appreciate it because I'm all about like saving every dime, every nickel. And I went through that budget and I tried to find money, and I found $1,500. And even that, I think, got reduced because I assumed that things could be cut out and they couldn't, you know. So it's easy to say, but the reality is this budget has been tight for a long time, and we are underfunded. Right now, we're underfunded. And you could have a bond for 20 years, but we can't pay the payment on the bond. That's the problem. We just don't have enough revenue. You get to a point where you need more coming in. You can't cut the milk, you can't cut the cereal, you know?
Mr. Finer, please
Just at that
address
point.
the folks up. Please address.
What's that?
Please address them,
Address who?
our folks up here.
Yeah, no, I'm all set. That's what I want to
should know
share.
the rules.
And it's a great process. I appreciate the interaction
Yeah.
here. I
Okay.
think the community is, everyone wants what's best for this borough. We don't all have the same opinions at all times. Sometimes they change, but I do believe we all want that. Thank you.
Thank you for all your years of dedication and commitment. I would be remiss not to compliment Mr. Finer on his fine work. I saw a new hand. That would be another former councilman, Mr. Stump.
Jared Stump, Yardley Borough resident, and
I'm sorry, quiet, please.
is this thing just kind of delicate? Okay, gotcha. So one of the things I wanted to say, because I hear a lot of people in the room saying, and people have been saying online, well, just cut expenses. If it's just very easy to do that, like we can, okay. Well, let's go see how much we can get for a police car with 200,000 miles on it. Or let's see if we can call our insurance company and maybe they'll cut our rates in half. And, to kind of build on what Mr. Finer said, I really feel like this whole council is pretty fiscally conservative, but my colleagues that I served with, there were things I ended up self-funding because I could not get them to agree to them. So actually the $5,000, you mentioned she came from the audience. So actually she came to me privately first because the people running general government were not going to let us spend $5,000 out of reserves to apply for this grant. And this grant was for a sidewalk project on Afton. We ended up not getting the grant, but we have the grant written, so we can keep applying for it, keep trying. And, You know, the argument that I made here was that this is the number one thing that residents ask me about is walkability. You know, some people maybe say it's not important or there's more pressing things, you know, like having a police force, but walkability is, in the 2 years I was on council, was the number one thing that was specifically requested. And so it was frustrating to tell them when we had $200,000 in reserves, which we know isn't enough, that, hey, we can't spend 500. I don't have the votes for it. It's not going to pass. And so we had a local Lower Makefield resident, and in that year that we were applying for it, it was a no-match grant. So if we had gotten it, it would have been just a $5,000 cost of the taxpayers. And so I guess what I want to say to everybody who would say, well, just be more fiscally responsible, we're doing it. And I really appreciate how civil everyone's been here tonight, because sometimes on the internet, things are not civil. You know, one of the reasons why I'm not on council now is because I was randomly on Reddit one night, and I encountered people talking about me by name.
I said I was sorry.
How did...
No, I'm just kidding.
How did this guy end up on council? He's not even from here, and oh my gosh, look at... He might vote for the Airbnb thing, which didn't end up doing, and, you know, talking about me like I'm the worst person in the world. And I want to thank you guys, because during the time that I was on council, this was brought up behind the scenes multiple times, and no, we don't want to do that. We have other things that need to get done, sidewalks. We don't want to get into a big thing where people are coming in, and I appreciate that we are now finally having the conversation and not waiting till things fully get to the point where they're falling apart. Like, Corey, I don't think you were an officer here at this time, but during the 2 years I was on council, when I would meet our officers out in the community, I would tell them two things. Thank you for serving. Actually, three things. Thank you for serving on our town police force. I understand you may not be here very long because we pay you a starting salary of around $43,000 a year. And thank you for working for $43,000 a year to potentially get shot at. And I'm proud of the fact that the council that I served on, that we gave our police officers a well-deserved raise. And honestly, that's not even why we have the $86,000 deficit. The $86,000 deficit is primarily because it snowed so damn much. And it's not because we're fiscally irresponsible. It's because we hack away with a fine-tooth comb, and then we sit here in meetings where there's nobody in the audience, and we mid-year, let's hack at it some more. And some of the budget is based on how many people sell their home. Like, there are things where we're just gambling with the budget. We're just gambling that real estate transfer taxes are going to come in at a certain number. And if it doesn't, well, shoot, we have a deficit. And this is the last thing I'll say, and then I'll shut up. I know you're going to cut me off.
I'm going to have to get back.
I was against the EIT when I moved here 9 years ago. I'm very, very cheap. My family can tell you. I don't like spending a lot of money on things unless it's an investment in something. Exactly. But I went from being against the EIT. Actually, it was you, Mr. Appelbaum, who explained it to me one night, sitting out in front of Borough Hall. And this wasn't when it wasn't even on the table, so it's not like we're secretly been plotting this for years. He explained to me how an EIT worked, and that most of the places in the county already had it. And back then, you know, Falls didn't, but they've passed it. Tullytown didn't, but they've passed it. He explained to me how it worked, and I went, oh, I was misinformed. And I officially changed my mind about the EIT. And, you know, I even had the thought the other day that, oh, crap, if this passes, I'm going to have to figure out how to pay this. Well, we're trying to figure out, okay, we got to keep one daughter home until the other daughter gets into the Pennsbury School District, because we can't have two kids in daycare at a time. And I understand how hard, I'm probably the youngest person in this room, and I know there was a comment earlier that young people probably don't own businesses. I'm probably the youngest person in this room. I own a business, and I own a business that's gone up, it's gone down, it goes to various levels. One of the things I like about an EIT is if I have a year where I don't do as good, I don't have to pay as much.
And thank you.
And I'm done talking, because I could go on and on all day.
Just stay for 1 second. I wanted to say, first of all, thank you for all the hard work and dedication that you gave when you were on council, and still do in many ways. You just joined the auxiliary police, but that's another story. What I wanted to ask is, and I know what the answer is generally for myself, but it costs us money to be on council because
you end up paying for things.
You end up paying for things, and that's the dedication. I want to thank you and everyone else that does it because we do care that much. So thank you. It's going to be okay.
Thanks, David.
Come see me at the bar later.
In the Wawa parking lot.
Yeah, right, okay. Thank you. All right, going back, I just want to see if there's anyone else that has any comments, wants to follow up. If not, I don't, oh, sir, please. Oh, okay.
You had mentioned earlier, I did not, Michael is our EIT guru, so I'm very happy to have him here and to address all the questions. You had mentioned earlier about having a great community, and I'm going to tell you, over the years I've come to Bucks County, and I was helpful in enacting, doing the same meeting for Langhorne, Pendle, other communities real close by. Staying at a hotel, having to go somewhere afterwards, I end up in Yardley for dinner. I come into town, I eat in town, I walk the streets. I called my wife and said, I don't know where I'm at, but we're coming here because you got to see this town. So you should be proud of this town. I mean, you've done very good things here. Whether you enact, whether you don't, that's your decision. But I did want you to know that you do have a great place here. The meeting that you had tonight, excellent meeting. I think there's a lot of respect going back and forth between residents and council. You guys should be proud of yourself. You should be very proud of yourself.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, I just want to thank Martha Hallett and our representatives from Keystone Collections. I invite everybody to go back and watch the videos that are still on YouTube from 10 years ago and 9 years ago of the EIT listening sessions. And we had probably 5 times as many people come out. And the people who were sitting up at the table didn't have answers to all of the questions. There was a lot of, we don't know, we'll look into that, we're not sure. And although I think there was one follow-up tonight about the breakdown of who's at 0.5% and who's at 1%, for the most part, this team up here answered every single one of your questions. And we haven't made a decision yet, but I just want to applaud the preparedness and the time that has been put into this presentation to inform and be transparent with the residents. So thank you.
With that said, I would like to dismiss our guests and bring this Councilwoman Hallett back. I know that many of you want to stay for the rest of the meeting because it's a lot of exciting stuff, but if you want to leave, I won't be offended. But I am writing names down. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate the decorum and your cooperation. Gentlemen, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Give them a minute.
I don't think I can survive through public comment. We haven't done
Oh, it's only 9:45. Well, I mean, let me skip public comment? I mean, here we are. We didn't do it. We did this, community announcements, and then we were going to go to the consent. Okay, just to keep things moving along, public comment. Non-agenda items, 3 minutes. Anyone would like to speak? Yes, please come up. I like this, so please. It's easier to see you and hear you.
Okay. I'm hoping that the solicitor will pay attention to this. Yardley Borough still has multiple continuing Sunshine Act violations. Additionally, the Civil Service Commission is not following established protocols. This is very serious because the legality of a police officer's appointment and promotion relies on the Commission's strict compliance with Pennsylvania civil service rules. When members of the Yardley Borough Civil Service Commission fail to follow mandated rules, such as proper testing, certifications, or appointment procedures, a police officer's hiring and/or promotion can be invalidated, and a court can declare the appointment void. You just promoted one officer, yet there was no meeting of the Civil Service Commission addressing the promotion. According to Pennsylvania Title 8, Section 1188, similar to appointments for hiring, the commission certifies the top 3 candidates for an eligibility list and conducts exams.
Oh, yeah.
A recent RTK response did not include significant commission records pertaining to the promotion or the last hiring. The records I did obtain reveal that the borough manager is acting as the de facto chair of the Civil Service Commission. The perfect example is her response tonight when I asked why they didn't meet for the promotion, and she said that she contacted the commission's solicitor and he gave his opinion. According to the rules, she's not allowed to do that. The Civil Service Commission is supposed to meet. The council notifies them of vacancy. They're supposed to meet. They're supposed to make those decisions and contact the solicitor. Another really huge conflict of interest is that Manager Johnson's husband, Robert Johnson, is the chair of the commission. Since Manager Johnson is the borough's right-to-know officer, she is uniquely positioned to cover up potential illegal hirings and promotions by not providing important commission records. She is also uniquely positioned to facilitate secret closed-door meetings by refusing to let the public know when the commission meets, until she was recently forced to. And I'm almost done. Mayor Caroline Thompson, who is the liaison to the Civil Service Commission, is the worst offender. She is refusing, excuse me?
Sorry.
She had coughed.
Oh, I thought it was a laugh.
No.
She is refusing to provide records even after being ordered to by the Office of Open Records. Thompson is also uniquely positioned to facilitate and cover up potential illegal hirings and promotions in the police department by advising the commission, chief of police, and members of the Public Safety Committee. This is an extremely serious issue, and it's not going away. The records that Manager Johnson and Mayor Thompson are refusing to disclose could potentially invalidate the recent promotion and the last hire, and it could cost the borough money from subsequent lawsuits filed by other people who did not get to apply for these things. So it's a really serious situation, and I have been documenting a lot of it through what the records I do get, but there's a lot of records I'm not getting, which is also costing the borough an incredible amount of money defending these appeals that you're losing. So it really needs to be addressed. Thank you.
So, number one, thank you for your comments. Number two, just for you and the public, and I am available for appointments, and always will make, the time to speak to people, and maybe we could, you could bring some of these things up, and perhaps we can find an answer to some of these things, or not, but...
No, I appreciate that. I would like
But
to
at
do
least,
that.
I would say from me to you, to anyone else, anyone in the public, this is what we would like to avoid. I am not defending your statements about our staff, but because I don't know if I agree, but that's okay. It's okay to bring it up, and I'm more than willing to have a discussion.
Yeah, I would like that. I would like to show you the documentation. I appreciate that.
Thank you again. Mr. Hoffelder, you're going to kill me.
Hi, I want to bring up about a concern that I wrote to you about a week and a half ago about the house next door to me. They were
Right,
demolishing that house. Well, it started out where they were just working inside, then all of a sudden they started taking the whole thing down. There was dust flying all around, and all those old houses have asbestos. There was insulation pieces in my backyard that with the wind blew in. And if I hadn't called, they would have just kept on doing that, because then a stop order was issued the next morning because they stopped it. And so I'm really concerned that this is allowed to go on. Like, isn't anybody checking on this?
First, are you, sorry, is that your comment?
Yes.
Okay. May I quickly respond? Number one, I was notified on a Sunday evening while I was shopping, but I immediately dropped it. I'm not defending myself, I'm just giving you facts.
No, I appreciate how fast.
I dropped everything,
Work order.
and started working on it at the, like a Goodwill place, and I thanked them for the comfortable couch. The point I'm trying to make is, you should be, I appreciate that you made that known,
I was afraid to call up to notify anybody about it.
but you saw that I didn't
No, I
respond that
understand
way.
that, but I'm just
So I
saying,
want you
people
to
don't
know.
like to call up on other neighbors.
It's okay. What I will say is that you said you're afraid, were asked why these things happen or are not caught or acted upon. I would not, I don't know if I would support that because I do know that the people from, is it Barry Islet would be the correct people, are here a couple times a week, if not more. And they came the very next morning.
They did come fast. I really like that.
What I would like to say is, I don't believe it's as bad as you might think, but I appreciate that you made the concern known, and we will take this seriously, and as you saw, we proved it that we acted on it very quickly, and I do thank everyone that was involved.
And some guys continued to work in there inside even after, but then they finally left around 5 o'clock that day on Monday.
The chief isn't here to respond to that, but he told me that the only person that was there was a
They
person from
parked
the
their
fencing.
car somewhere else but I saw them walk and they were coming.
I won't address something that I don't know.
I'm just saying.
Because it's only for me, I don't know.
No, I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just saying that they were still going in there even
So
after.
thank you again, and thank you for your concern
Okay, thank you.
and your comments. Mr. Finer.
Uri Finer at Yardley Borough. This is actually in response to the conversation that happened at the last meeting about electric bicycles, e-bikes, and I wanted to shed a little bit of information on that. I appreciate that the police department has been nuanced and has been understanding that it's really a behavior issue with young kids who really shouldn't be on the bikes that they're on and are not behaving properly. But I wanted to also speak to the other side of that because there's a lot of kind of knee-jerk that happens. People say, oh, e-bikes, this is the e-bike problem. I have an e-bike, I have a knee injury, and when I ride my bicycle more than a couple of miles, my knee starts to flare up and I can't keep cycling. So the e-bike has allowed me to go ride the bike to New Hope and back without that problem happening, and that's been great. My 77-year-old stepfather has an e-bike. He wasn't riding or exercising much, and I helped him figure that out, and he now rides a few times a week, and recently put 5,000 miles past the 5,000 mile milestone, lost 15 or more than 15 pounds, I believe.
We send our congratulations.
And he likes to come here and join me for, we ride together. We have a simple rule. If you're on the towpath or where there are people around, you slow down to under 10 miles an hour when you pass a pedestrian, common courtesy. Often a non-e-bike will pass faster when we do that. There is something called, the e-bikes are actually federally mandated to not be considered motorized bicycles. There's 3 classes of them. They're pretty well defined. Then there's something that has been produced in recent years that is not an e-bike. It's actually called an e-moto, and it has more power and goes faster with just pressing a button. The e-bike, it gives you a little bit of help when you're pedaling, and it kind of makes it a little easier. The hills are a little flatter. But these contraptions are actually illegal on roads. They've already been illegal. They're really like motorcycles without all the lights and all the safety requirements. And the recent death in Princeton that happened, unfortunately that young child was on an e-moto. The one that happened about a year ago that caused New Jersey to legislate was also, turns out to be an e-moto. So there's a lot of nuance here, and we want to make sure that we're not hurting people who are maybe injured or older and trying to get some exercise, and also focused on the behavioral issue of parents not knowing what they're buying their kids and kids then acting in ways that are dangerous. So I appreciate I saw a lot of that happening to educate people from the borough police, and just saying thumbs up, good job, and keep on doing what you're doing.
Just quickly, I was going to defer to the mayor if she wanted to comment on it. I know you and the chief have been doing some public safety talks with children.
Yeah, I mean, I shared last time that we're going to the middle school next Wednesday to do a talk with them in partnership with TMA Bucks about e-bike safety. But no, I don't have anything else specific to share with you this evening, but I appreciate your comments. I agree about the E-Moto. I didn't know what they were called, but I've seen them on, and I think a lot of people have demonized e-bikes because they see those and they think they're the same, and they're really not at all. So I think it is important that our officers are aware of the differences and how we might treat them differently.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate that. Okay, now for the consent agenda dated May 5th, 2026. This would be a approval of the minutes dated April 21st, 2026. Event permit annual Yardley 5K walk run, and also 5/31/26 at 8:30, starts at Starbucks. Event permit event permit Yardley Memorial Main Street Mile, 5/25/26 at 7:30 a.m., starts at the old Wells Fargo building. D, a banner permit for Memorial Mile and 5K. And finally, E, event permit, Pride event, 6/2/26, 6 p.m. at Buttonwood Park. Does anyone want me to remove any of those items? Okay. In that case, I would like to ask for a motion.
So moved.
And a second? Okay, thank you. A motion by Councilman Hallett, second by Mr. Menzel. Any discussion from the table? No questions from the public? No? Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nay? Abstention? One absence? 6-0. Passes. Thank you. All right, finance report. Did everyone have a chance to look at it? And if so, if I don't hear any discussion, I'm going to accept that as consensus. I believe so. Consensus has been met. Thank you. Police chief's report, sir?
We already gave it.
Oh, geez, that's right. You know, it's been a long night, folks. All right, then. Then I will turn our attention to the manager's report.
No report this evening, sir. Sorry.
Just kidding.
Mr. President, given that we've been moving things around a lot, I think Mr. Hodge might be here for the last item on the agenda.
Oh, would you like to request that we move that up?
I mean, we're talking about some elevation, so it could be another 30 minutes. Okay, all right.
Okay. On that note, solicitor, report, if you have one. I'll give you a second. It's, this is real loose.
Basically, I've been working with Pat to discuss the storm sewer at University Drive in North Main. I did send an email out this evening before the meeting. I'll coordinate with Public Works. We pulled some records. We're going to have to get some additional records from the pathonetary due to one of the easements being from a plan from 1967. So once we get a couple additional pages, I'll reach out and coordinate and discuss it. But it does look like there's existing easements in the area.
Okay. And is that your report?
That concludes my report.
Okay. Mayor?
Reading the engineer's report?
Oh, did I skip the engineer? I'm so sorry, sir.
That's all right.
Yeah, we're all getting a little loopy.
We've issued our engineer's report to council. Are there any questions?
Excellent report, as always.
Thank you. Maybe before we go to the two items, just to give council an update on North Main Street. When we were here on the 21st, we issued out the change order was accepted. Our contractors been out working. We had a water main issue today. The PA American Water called me late this evening, and they capped off the abandoned water main that was still functioning. And so GMB should be back out on site tomorrow, working on installing the stormwater. They are working on a schedule. What our hope is the storm sewer work. The storm work is going to advance enough where they could start working on the concrete work. So they're looking at that schedule. Once we receive it, we'll forward it over to Manager Johnson, and then work on communicating with the residents as well.
And I may not have heard you, but did you say water was restored to the residents that lost water today?
The water was turned off, the cap was made, so I have not heard regarding anybody still out of water, but PA American Water was out there. They called me at 5 o'clock, pretty much completed.
Okay. And I don't think that we've heard anything downstairs, so that's a good sign. Okay. And did you want to, anything else in your?
No, that was all regarding, just the projects, and then if nobody has any further questions, we could go to the two agenda items.
Yes, please.
Okay, so our first agenda item is the consideration of FEMA-funded 119 South Bell Avenue elevation bid. Yardley Borough has received funding through FEMA, administered through the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency, in order to elevate the existing home located at 119 South Bell Avenue above the 100-year floodplain in Yardley Borough. The work consists of elevating and temporarily supporting the existing structure, constructing new foundations, footings, walls as shown, utility connections and reconnections, amongst other items of restoring to the disturbed areas as well. Bids were opened on April 27th for the project. We provided a copy of the letter of recommendation and the bid tabulation within the packet. A total of 2 bids were received for this project, ranging from $389,116 to $398,450. And based upon the bids are exceeding the allocated funding supplied by the grant. Remington and Vernick therefore recommends, in coordination with Susan, that Yardley Borough rejects the bid and rebids the project on pen bid.
And
so we're seeking a motion to reject and to rebid the project.
And just for clarification, in case people don't know, Susan Mazzatelli is our...
Floodplain administrator.
Thank you, I'm sorry. So you would like a motion to...
Reject and rebid.
Reject and rebid. I'm asking for that motion. So moved. And second?
Second.
Who was that?
Jonathan.
Oh. You're still here. Yes, so we have a motion from Councilman Scherer. We have a second by Mr. Woodring. Any discussion?
Is this common that we don't get that we get bids that are over amounts and?
Yes.
have to rebid? Okay. Are we generally successful the second time?
We hope we are going to be reaching out to the 2 bidders and seeking some thoughts on potential savings values, and then look at maybe incorporating those comments.
Okay.
But our hope is that sometimes, if you go out and rebid, our hope is that the bids will come down lower as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other comments from the table? Any comments from the public? Okay. Your second item, B?
Do we have to?
Oh, yes, we have to vote on this. Sorry, I told you, I'm getting a little loopy. Okay, with that said, there was no other comments. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And no abstentions, no nays, and we have 1 absentee, 6-0. Okay, all right, well, now we can talk about B.
All right. So, thank you. Our next item is the consideration of FEMA-funded 35 Brown Street elevation bid. This project is located at 35 Brown Street. It involves with lifting the house and installing foundations and extending it to above the 100-year floodplain with the new footings and reconnecting the utilities and restoring the conditions and installing flood vents. The bids were opened on April 27th for the project. We've provided a copy of the recommendation and the bid tabulation within the packet. A total of 2 bids were received for this project, ranging from $323,200 to $415,698. Caddick Construction, Inc. is the lowest bidder in the amount of $323,200. Remington Burnick recommends award of the base bid to the contractor in the total amount of $323,200, contingent upon the funds being available. Coordination with Susan. This project is within those fundings, and we're seeking council's recommend to award this contract to Caddick Construction, Inc.
And for us and new council people and maybe the public, Caddick is a company we've worked with before.
Yes, Caddick has previously elevated a few homes in the borough, most recently 93 North Delaware, and as well as 77 Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
And they also do a lot of PA American Water work as well.
Okay. I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
And a second?
Seconded.
All right. Motion by Councilwoman Scherer, seconded by Councilwoman Hallett. Just, wait a minute, just, yeah, discussion. Anyone? Public? No? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nays, abstention, one absence, 6-0.
6-0.
6-0.
Thanks.
Catherine, 6-0. All right. Is that the end of your
That
report?
concludes my report.
That concludes your report. All right, then moving on to the mayor, right?
Given the hour, I'll yield my time, Mr. President. Thank you.
Oh, disappointing, but okay. Any council member reports in brief?
I can go if.
Who was that? Oh, yes, please, Mr.
I think as we'll touch on here in a minute, Public Works has been working in concert with the Planning Commission, and Richard's here, who's been working with the Bucks County Planning Commission on the approach for development of the next comprehensive plan. I don't know if people have had a chance to read it. Proposal looks strong, lots of like really deliberate touch points, I think, for community involvement, which was encouraging. And I think we're going to be talking about that in more detail here in a second. So on the sidewalk front, Pat covered off it a little bit after the change order. That's moving forward. And Pat, we were saying earlier, we're expecting completion middle of June. You were going to get a timeline on that, but middle of June-ish, yeah. And then other sidewalk news, Martha and I did sit down with our colleagues at LMT. We're both fairly new, just to get sort of oriented in the context of Dolington and West Afton sidewalk, as these will require coordination across the borough and LMT. Speaking of that, we were regrouping earlier on the process of reapplying for the LSA grant to cover both Dolington and Arla, and also thinking about weaving in at least part of the Afton project into that. So there were a couple follow-ups, I think, with David and Caroline that we'll be following up with in terms of process. So we're starting to get organized for that submission in the summer. Also talked a little bit and are talking actively about the road milling, of which Martha talked about earlier, which is an upcoming expense that is significant. We were introduced to this Violytic system, which is basically a way of automatically tracking that I think the LMT Public Works folks have in their cars, and basically evaluate roads in an ongoing basis that might be worth exploring from a cost perspective. So we're going to take a look at that and see if that is worth the investment. So what else do we have here? Significant costs to the milling, obviously, as part of what Martha covered. And then finally, the Pico lot trail amenities is under discussion. It sounds like the decisions that we need to make as a council is the specific amenities, specifically the bike repair station being the main issue that we need to sort through. So those are the things going on, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. Mr. Menzel, you look like you're motioning me.
What?
I thought you were looking at me as if you wanted to say something.
I'm just zoning out.
Okay.
Anyways,
You are.
I can do a report. Anyways, so for community economic, we are actually working on a survey that we are planning to administer to business owners in the borough. I don't like to assume that we know what's best for them, so I want to reach out to them and make sure we are supporting the things that they think they need support from. So working on a survey that we are hoping to wrap up soon that we will then administer.
Thank you so much, and I'll just check to make sure if anyone else has a, okay, please.
I'm sorry, on behalf
Don't
of.
apologize.
On behalf of Councilwoman Siegel Morris, I'm giving her report for her on the Experience Yardley, since she's the liaison. Music Off Main is scheduled to begin on Wednesday, May 27th at 6 p.m. in Buttonwood Park. Concerts will take place on Wednesdays this season and 2 scheduled Saturday performances. The full schedule is posted on Experience Yardley's website, and printed cards should be available at local businesses shortly. Experience Yardley is also exploring an opt-in email or text alert system to notify concert goers of cancellations or schedule changes in a timely manner. Lisa Edwards of Yardley Tattoo attended the meeting to share updates on this year's Pride Day event. The event will include a flag raising in Buttonwood Park, guest speakers, a children's book reading by a local author, and a pride crawl featuring participating businesses throughout the borough. The Yardley Ducks will once again be adorned with rainbow ribbons in recognition of Pride Month. Occasional Flowers has created seasonal floral arrangements for Buttonwood Park, which are expected to be installed in the near future. Experience Yardley is currently in the approval stage with the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, DCNR, for this year's Canal-Aween festivities.
Oh, okay, well, thank you to Councilwoman Siegel Morris. Go once, twice, 3 times, good. Would you please come up? We can switch the microphone around, grab a seat, and just, so.
There you go.
Thank you so much. And you are representing the Planning Commission, correct?
Yes, I'm Richard Hodge, resident of the borough and Commissioner for Planning. I didn't bring any prepared remarks about this topic. I thought I'd come by and be available for comments or questions about what we're asking. Basically, what we're asking is to fund a consultant to help us put together.
I wrote something if you want me to.
Please jump in, yeah.
So I think for those, I guess this comes up every 10 to 15 years or so, but Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code, Act 247 of 1968, empowers and mandates that boroughs, cities, and townships create, adopt, and update comprehensive plans to guide land use and development. The plans are to be carried out about every 10 years, and I think the last one done for Yardley Borough was 2014. Prior to that, 1989, if my math is right on that. So we're due. I think this plan will cover a range of topics such as utilization of borough-owned property, riverfront enhancements and stormwater maintenance, economic development initiatives, corresponding parking considerations, pedestrian safety issues, et cetera. But basically, the idea is to have an overarching plan that's governing the specific issues that council focuses on day to day, year to year, et cetera. The Bucks County Planning Commission will be assisting us, presumably, in developing that, of this implementable plan. I put that in air quotes as they're very deliberate in the proposal about having that be engaging the community via surveys, a series of workshops that will drive the creation of that next 10-year comprehensive plan. According to their proposal, that's roughly an 18 to 20-month process, so it doesn't happen overnight. And from a cost perspective, the proposal is about $18,400. I know we had earmarked about $15,000 for that. I think that we can probably cover that gap with capital reserves. It's about a $3,400 gap as opposed to using an independent donor, which I think was another option. So I was going to propose a motion to accept the Bucks County Planning Commission's proposal for the development of the comprehensive plan.
So you're looking for a motion, correct? No, wait, I'm asking.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine. I think, was that you, Jason?
Oh, it was me.
Paul, sorry, confused the two of you. So
Seconded.
Richard, anything
Seconded.
to add? Sorry, anything to add?
Well, wait a minute, let's, we have a motion, we seconded. Now we'd like to have discussion. Any questions from the table for Mr. Hodges or Mr. Woodring?
Was the last comprehensive plan done with the planning commission, or was that done by the borough?
The Planning Commission.
The Bucks County Planning Commission?
No, I don't believe the Bucks County Planning Commission was involved.
Okay.
In fact, I don't know who the person is. My colleagues on the commission mentioned someone who led that and drove it, but I think he was a commissioner. I think he was maybe had some professional planning experience, but I don't think he was a contractor.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Anyone else maybe know the history about that?
No.
Or he might.
Oh, Mr. Finer.
Somewhat involved in that, and I know at the time Mike Ruddle, I worked with him
Mike Ruddle.
on that.
Yeah.
He was putting a lot of time into it.
Was he a commissioner?
No, but I don't.
Is he on council?
He was on, may have been on council at that time.
A lot of work on it.
Yeah.
He may have been on council at the time.
Okay.
So in-house. Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
I would add, so we tried to get a grant to cover this. Has it been 2 years ago now? 2 years ago. And we like BCPC because they were half the cost of the other entities that do this. But also, we have a really chunky document right now that maybe some of you haven't read because it's very long. It's very inaccessible. It is not implementable. And so BCPC showed examples of their works for other municipalities. And they are, I would say, the front runner in Bucks County and in other counties, or not in other counties, in Bucks County. They keep winning these bids because their documents are really like tangible. Like these are 5 things that you can do in 5 years, and these are 5 things that you can do in 10 years, and here's how you can do them, and here's what the public thinks, and here's what the government thinks, and here's what the staff thinks, and lots of nice graphs and pictures. And so I think it will be money well spent. But we have not used them before, and I don't think we used anyone professional last time. We just don't have the capacity to do that this time.
So I'm just going to ask the table if there was any concern about the extra expense, or the manager. Okay, then,
And I just wanted to say, they agreed to lock in a prior price, is that correct? Right, so from 2 years ago, they're still going to do it at the same price they offered then as well.
and that was 18,400. Okay. Any questions from the public? You don't have to, I'm just asking. No, you don't have to. If you want to. Oh, he wants to, okay.
Score, no. Well, there was a 2001 comprehensive plan as well. It's like 5 pages long.
Okay.
There was a very nice map. You should, you probably have a copy of it. It's worth looking at. It's kind of nicely done, but it's obviously too short. And maybe the current one is long, although a lot of the parts actually have been chipped away and implemented when you start to look at it. But it would be, I think it makes sense to have people who do this on a regular basis.
This is a non-implementable version, the 2001 one, right?
Yeah, it's like a feel-good, it's like a brochure kind of. Nicely designed, though, I'll give it that. My question, actually, I came for a question, has to do with the contribution. Is that something that is happening? Do you know?
A member of the Planning Commission offered to make up the gap.
Right. So
it hasn't been called upon. We don't need it at the moment.
Okay.
It depends on our actions tonight.
Yeah, my only thought about that is that it needs to be done in such a way that it's like to clear it maybe through the solicitor, so it's not done in a way that it's not going to do. Okay.
I think it's clear that we're not.
Okay. Just to make sure it doesn't look like it was, pay here and get that. You know how things can be in government. Okay. Thank you very much.
I'd, if I could, offer a couple of observations. Reading through the proposal from Bucks County Planning Commission, it's clear that there are a certain amount of expectation from the borough side and from council side, and a lot of us participating in the borough administration will need to step up over the course of the next 18 to 20 months and do a lot. The borough's expected to, I made a list. It recommended, or it offered the possibility that in addition to the planning commission, maybe a steering committee could be formed to give a broader voice beyond just the planning commission for this activity. Seemed like a good idea to me. So I encourage you all to give some thought to that and who might best participate in that.
Would that be strictly council, or could it be others, even residents?
It's at your discretion, I would say.
At our discretion, thank you.
Council and borough staff will be responsible for public outreach for the public participation side of things. And I think that's something certainly the Planning Commission is going to need your help with. We don't really know how to go about doing that, but there will be quite a bit of that coming down the road. Scheduling of dates and times for workshops, assisting in the promotion and distribution of survey information. And one thing that you mentioned tonight, there is expected to be a business survey. And I wonder whether we don't consider, if this in fact proceeds.
Yeah, now that you're saying that, I'm just thinking the same thing. And then
Yeah.
I read it through tonight. I was kind of like, but I mean, this looks like it's going to be, what'd you say, 20 months or something?
From start to finish. I think we're hoping to kick it off.
That and that I was looking, it looks like that's not even closer to the end. And then I saw if it's 18, you're adding the extra business audit thing on it, which it looked
Yeah,
like adding.
that in fact is the extra.
Yeah,
The business audit. It just seems like
No, it seems
worth considering, doing both at the same time.
Explain what a business audit is in this context?
Well, it's, from what little I understand of it, from the proposal, it's simply identifying businesses and maybe organized business entities in the borough to consult with them about this process.
Okay.
And frankly, I think we should cast a big tent and broaden that as broadly as we can imagine, I think, during the course of this process to make sure we've accounted for all borough, observations and ambitions for the next 10 years for the borough.
Do you have further comments?
No, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight those observations from their proposal that I thought were relevant to our, what's expected of
How
us.
soon do they start? I mean, if we vote on it today, like it starts
Month one, right?
This is month one right now?
I think next month is month one. Right?
Yeah, we can choose when we're starting.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say that an issue we have with our boards and commissions is direction and defined scope. And so I think we need to ask BCPC to provide a defined scope for the steering committee and then to come and do an orientation for them on how to go about accomplishing that defined scope, or they are going to be a little aimless. This is a big project and hard to know where to start. And so I'm just making sure they're not going to say, hey, set up these committees and do this public opinion without guiding us.
Yes, good point. And I think they addressed that to some extent in what they refer to as a kickoff meeting. And I think you would do well to give some consideration to who ought to be in that kickoff meeting and who could, most effectively participate in defining those roles as we go forward.
Yeah, I think Caroline's point too, and leaning into them though as people that have done this
have done it
multiple times and have some, right, some blueprint for that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. There is a motion on the table. There is a second. I've asked for comments, so I believe it's the time for me to ask all those in favor.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstention? And we have one absence. 6-0. 6-0. It passes.
Okay.
Thank you for all your hard work. And please extend my thanks to everyone on planning. And we will be prepared to, as best as we can, to support you.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll need it. I think the hard work is ahead.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And seconded. Somebody seconded. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Sign it, right?